Anti-derivative Jill.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Hello, I am Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations number 68. And today we're reviewing the next original series episode, and it's Journey to Babel. And such an amazing Spock episode.
Hello, Pink Skins.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. So glad to be here.
Yes, hello, Pop Culture Curator. And Scotty was using the pejorative that we get to hear during Enterprise. We don't hear that this episode.
No, but I dig Andorians.
Yeah, clearly. And so, yes, we have Scotty R37 and Pop Culture Curator. Pop Culture Curator tonight is going to have a sci-fi stream about one of my most recently acquired favorite movies, which is Forbidden Planet. I can never talk about that enough, so I'll try to be there, but if not, I'm going to figure out how to give him my slides, because I did all the work already on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I love the movie as well.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably one of the most understanding souls I've ever met.
Yeah, I love that. I love that robot. Anyhow, we'll talk about that tonight. And Scotty R37 had me read the intro to Star Trek.
And someone should clip it. Someone should clip it.
Thanks.
Got to add a little bit of reverberation like they did in the series.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I might re-record it if it's going to be clipped.
Well, and the thing is that I wanted to do it, but then when I started it, I sounded like Khan. I was like, space, the final frontier.
But that would have been fun.
Yeah, well, different. We'll do that another time.
Because Khan took over the Enterprise today. Why not? But do you want to talk about what you're doing, Scotty?
No. Okay.
So, for reference to the production of these episodes, some of the facts that I talk about will come from the Star Trek 365 original series book by Paul M. Block and Terry J. Erdman, as seen on the TOS reviews on Clobbering Times channel with Raquel Briggs, and they're currently continuing their Saturday night Star Trek with Voyager. So they just started Voyager. They're just in season 1. If you want to get through Voyager and get their perspective on the series and include your own reviews in the chat, which they will read, check out Saturday Night Star Trek.
You know, it's kind of weird with Voyager. It's like watching Alf make out with a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
You know what? I was really derelict with today, so I have not even made my slides yet. So I've got to make my
What?
PowerPoint.
You didn't make slides?
No,
what is this?
Okay, no, I made the slides, but I didn't put them into the PowerPoint yet. It doesn't take long. So, but I will need a minute.
Well, it's okay. We can say hello to everybody in the meantime.
Yeah,
Yes.
totes.
Yes, please, if you can.
I can. Franco Walker is here.
Hello,
Fourth
Franco.
like.
Good to see you, Franco.
Edge of Time, ahoy. And hail, Edge of Time.
Hello, Edge of Time. Good to see you as well.
Always remember the brief moment he was edgy of time.
He's always edgy. Todd Michael. Everyone
Hey, Todd
should
Michael.
go and check out Nulladoc. Yeah.
Oh, I need to get his channel link in my
Mm-hmm.
rotation.
Either way.
But
Totes. Todd Michael recently saw the Barbie movie, as did I, and I enjoyed it, as did Todd Michael. But I don't like that Shang-Chi fella. He was counting his choreography, and I didn't like it. Darius Munchausen is here with a bowl of popcorn or a box.
Hey, Darius. Oh, he's
Hello,
all
Gorilla.
Darius.
And hello, Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Hooray!
Hello, Gorilla. Good to see you there.
Greetings, Plus C Nation.
I had such a pleasure on your bros show.
Yeah. Cardinal Sin always puts on a good show. And he had some good questions to ask the panel.
Franco asks a question. Do you think that Jill has fallen asleep?
I did earlier, so that's why my prep isn't complete today, but I'm here.
Ari says, time is an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so.
Yeah, we did a review on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if anyone's ever interested in that one.
Luckily, it's a Tuesday, so I do have I can swing Tuesdays. Darius says, I have no...
Thursdays.
Exactly, that's where I get confuffled. Darius says, I have no room to talk. I always start my show late, and Jill was always on time for it.
But you've only ever had 11 shows. You need to have a 12th one.
Jim's here.
Oh,
From
hello,
Jim's
Jim.
Landscape LLC, #1, Commodore Productions. Go check out his channel. He has one of the glorious wraparound uniforms. Gorilla says, fun fact for today. You are 141 times more likely to be bitten by a New Yorker than a shark. That makes sense. I've met Admiral Teague.
I was wondering if that joke was coming, and it did.
Oh, come on. It was so easy. Dalek451 says, hail, Jill, Pennant, and chat.
Hello, Dalek451. Hey, so cool to see you.
Hey, Sean Carter is here.
And, yeah. Hey, Sean Carter.
This is a good question from Darius Munchausen.
What about space women? So
What about
there's
them?
a purple woman in this episode.
I did not see her. Did you get a screen grab?
I did. She
Great.
goes by pretty quick in the rec room.
Well, are you calling her a trollop?
She walks quickly.
Oh, I thought she was easy and quick, fast.
No.
No? Too much?
No, talking about her physical speed.
Yeah, so was I.
Yes. Well, and even though there are Orions in this episode, we do not see any green.
No, I know, but we'll get there. Franco says hello to all of the panel.
No, I'm all over the place today. We can go wherever we want.
Hey, JD Lewis is here. Hola! Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Hello there.
Hello. Hey, JD Lewis. So before we begin with the slides, I'll just give away the basic summary. I don't mind if people go out of order in the episode. Oh.
Franco
No
Walker
slides
has a question.
and no poll. So I got the slides, but I forgot the poll. Thank you so much, Franco.
Thank you, Franco.
I'm not on top of the ball today, so I appreciate it when the chat helps me out like that.
Yamas Queen Jess says, this is my 3, 4, 5 favorite episode. Wow, what a great choice.
It is a great episode, and I'm so glad you're here, Yamas Queen Jess.
I think this is Totes' top 5 episode. Spoilers for my review. This is Totes' top 5.
Yeah, it's an incredible one, especially for lore building, world building, and everything.
Ari says, was that light last night, a midnight to midnight? It was on Cardinal Sins. I don't think you can see it anymore. I think it's on his, I think Cardinal Sin does have a members page. So if you want to go over there and find out how to check it, you can. And,
oh yeah, that's right.
subscribe.
After it's live, Midnight to Midnight is available to members.
I'm just going to say, the Canadian Spider-Man, super handsome.
He is.
Franco Walker says, fast and loose, Scotty? Yes, that is on my business card. And Darius continues to say, the ancients knew that 12 was superior to 10. That's why they invented the dozen and the clock. Yes. And juries. And donuts.
And there's our poll. Our poll is now finally available in the chat.
All right. I got to go give it an A+. Give me a sec. You were saying you were going to run down the plot.
Oh, yes. As read through the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll read that.
The book?
Yeah, the book.
Chicago Gangs of the 1920s.
Page 216.
Oh.
Journey to Babel. The Enterprise has been assigned to convey to a group of Federation representatives to an important conference on Babel, and Kirk suspects he will have his hands full keeping peace among the electric group of guests. Last to arrive on board is the Vulcan contingent led by Ambassador Sarek, who is accompanied by his human wife, Amanda. The ambassador and his wife are Spock's parents, but the reunion between father and son is surprisingly chilly. Amanda explains to Kirk that a disagreement over Spock's choice of career has kept the two men from speaking for 18 years. As the ship gets underway, however, the family feud becomes the least of Kirk's worries. The assorted planetary reps have wildly differing opinions about the Babel Conference's central issue, the admission of the planet Corridon to the Federation. Even Sarek, with his restrained Vulcan temperament, is drawn into a heated argument with the Tellarite ambassador. And a short time later, the Tellarite is found dead, his neck snapped via a Vulcan technique called Tal Shaya. Sarek claims to have been incapacitated at the time of the murder, and indeed, McCoy reveals that the ambassador is suffering from a life-threatening cardiovascular malfunction. If Sarek is to survive the voyage, that's a good description.
No, it's a good description. I enjoy it. I don't know why.
He must have immediate surgery. The operation will require a large quantity of Vulcan blood, which McCoy can obtain only from Spock if the
Jill.
Younger Vulcan submits
pop culture.
to
Do you
a
guys,
hazardous procedure.
Wait, I'm interrupting. Do you guys know Spock's blood type?
Yeah, I do.
Pop? I will take that silence as a yes.
It's negative T.
I just know that it's green and it's copper based. Sorry.
Fair enough. It's green. Good answer.
It's T negative.
True story.
But it's got the human part has to be filtered out.
Oh, yeah.
If the younger Vulcan submits to a hazardous experimental procedure, but after Captain Kirk is critically injured in an attack by one of the conference attendees, Spock turns McCoy down, effectively sentencing his father to death. And so that's how they describe the episode. And it was first aired on November 17th, 1967, written by the amazing D.C. Fontana and directed by Joseph Petney.
And produced by John Meredith Lucas. There's a transitionary period going on.
Oh, produced? Is there a who was producing before?
Gene Roddenberry? Perhaps you've heard of him. He wrote Pretty Maids All in a Row.
Wait a minute. Are you saying Gene Roddenberry's left the show at this point?
No, I'm not saying he left the show at this point.
he left in
I was taken
season
aback.
3.
I was taken aback at the end credits, and it said produced by John Meredith Lucas.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it had more than one producer. Better than the, what, 25 or 30 they have now?
On what?
The new Star Treks, they have like unlimited amount
There
of
are
producers.
new Star Treks?
Discovery and Strange New
I like the
Worlds
way
and all
you
that.
say Discovery.
Yeah, Discovery.
Yeah, no. Let's see. We broke. What?
I do enjoy this sort of interaction that McCoy and Kirk, like we've seen the dress uniforms before, but I do like that McCoy does not enjoy the dress uniforms. I don't know how long. I can't. Feels like my neck's in a sling.
There it is. He's in the sling. It's true. So where are we in the chat? I want to see.
I started.
Oh, you did. Great.
I know my job.
And it's where? What about space women? Right? Is that where we are? Or are we past that?
The ancients knew that 12 was superior to 10. That's why they invented the dozens and dozens.
Okay,
Yeah, Miss
thank
Queen
you.
Jess says it ties with tribbles and mirror. That's your triumvirate. I'm a. Oh, all right.
Mirror
I think
a good one. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But I love tribbles. Hey. I have one right here.
Ooh. It doesn't like you, Mr. Darwin. Hey, the AI show is here.
Yeah, he says, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stand this. McCoy looks like he's watching Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. Vulcan hearts are where the human liver is, says Yamas Queen Jess.
And Gorilla says, I blame the 5 Fs on Scotty. I would too, because I usually use so many Fs.
How could... Oh, there are no Fs. Okay, I was going to be surprised.
No, but I always blame all the Fs on Gorilla, so he's blaming 5 of them on me. It's a fair dinkum.
And so Yamas Queen Jess is answering the question as to what Spock's blood is. And yes, Darius said there's copper in Spock's blood, which is why it is green. And Franco Walker says there are no new Star Treks. Yeah, that's true. 2005 was it. Too bad they didn't make any more after that.
Yeah, I miss it.
Yeah. Yama says, if New Trek exists, then this episode cannot.
Which is something that I really wanted, like, and thank you, Yamas, for saying that. This episode is an episode. Blame Canada.
I do.
This episode, I would too. But this episode, really, if you want to know Spock, if you want to know Vulcans, if you like, this is a cornerstone of Vulcan history. This is a cornerstone of Spock as a character. And I think that it's amazing. Like, I think this is one of the best episodes of the characterization of Spock, and I think it's excellent writing. Thank you, Dorothy. This is one of my favorites. And I think that every one of the new Star Trek writers, if they do make new Star Trek, should watch this. Because they clearly haven't.
Yeah, they established a lot of the Vulcan lore in this episode. I like that.
Well, not only though.
Yeah,
Vulcan,
and speaking of, I'm sorry, I was actually talking, but I didn't unmute.
You know what? Sometimes I wish I would mute when I was talking.
And I mute too much, but DC Fontana says, speaking of her, she says the idea really came out of the line toward the end of This Side of Paradise where Spock says, my mother was a school teacher, my father was an ambassador.
Your mother was a computer bank, and your father was... What were the insults that Kirk threw at him?
An encyclopedia.
And your father smelt of elderberries.
You're
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
Your father was a computer and your mother was an encyclopedia?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds about right.
And she also says, I was kicking around the stories and I finally went to Jean and said, I want to do something about Spock's mother and father. Let's explore the relationship. I said to Jean, we've talked about them. Let's show them. He told me to do it, and I came up with Journey to Babel. That's from Starlog, issue 118.
And I just like considering the slide that we're looking at right now in terms of the costume. Like, I really appreciate the command has the gold stripe as opposed to the chief medical officer who does not have a stripe, because he is like, he's he's a crewman. He's the chief medical officer. He's not in command. If you are walking down this corridor at this particular instance and you need a person in command, the uniform tells you that this guy, or Vulcan, which is also a guy, like, these are the people who are in command, as opposed to, do you need a doctor? Well, go to sickbay. Like, I really appreciate the pomp and circumstance and the specificity to the costuming.
Yeah, and the decoration that Kirk has.
A golden star of valor, I'm sure.
And yeah, so she just wanted to explore Spock's family background. What's going on with him truly.
Turns out that Spock's dad's a dick.
She says a lot about this episode. She says, I made some notes about what was going on with them. I sat down and created 2 characters emphasizing the triangular relationship, the rift between Sarek and Spock, and Amanda positioned in the middle. Amanda was chosen, she chose the name because it means worthy of being loved. And here's Dr. McCoy trying to learn the Vulcan salute as he meets Sarek.
Well, and I believe it was Ari Babel in the chat earlier said, "Is this the first instance of the Vulcan salute?" And the answer is no.
Nope.
We got a muck time.
A muck time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
although I like the
exclamation
from. Yeah, I like it when Leonard says, "This is worse than the uniform."
Oh yeah, there it is. He gave up. Gave up pretty easily.
Also, like, okay, so I think this lays to rest. This scene, this shot lays to rest whether or not Starfleet is a military, because if you're welcoming ambassadors and you're like crossing your arms with phasers at your shoulder, yeah, you're a military.
They are.
Look at us. We are powerful and we welcome you. We will defend you.
I thought it was interesting that Sarek came forward first. You would think that there would be some sort of bodyguard.
Well, they are all the bodyguards. All of the rich.
No, I'm talking about a Vulcan bodyguard. It's like the President of the United States when he goes to the country, another country's got an entourage.
I'm just impressed that Sarek didn't fall down the stairs.
But it just shows their trust in Starfleet, because they're all part of the Federation.
That's true.
But he does say, "I would like to welcome my wife and my aides," but we never see the aides again.
Yeah, I kind of see the aides back there.
How many times can we get away with saying aides?
3 more times. Don't waste them.
All right.
Lemon Pie says, "Good day, chat. Good day, Jill. Pop, Scotty."
Hello, Lemon Pie. It's so good to see you.
Lemon!
Mark Harkness says, "There are a myriad of new Star Treks, only that they are not being made."
Only the size of my head.
And come to think of it, the couple on STD are probably Gold Star Boys, says Darius Munchausen, but I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know. Are you talking about Culber and Stamets? Because we can't talk about that on Tuesdays. You have to wait till Friday to talk about them.
Yeah, usually on Friday, that's when we talk about them. One of them turns into a mushroom, though, and so that's
what I heard.
Thing.
I heard one of them turned into a mushroom.
That happens on that show for me, apparently, because that's the only thing I can ever talk about. Mark says Sarek and Amanda were dating. Amanda was patiently waiting for signs of romance, soft words, slow dance. What she got was an efficiency rating.
Mark Harkness, I know that you are trying to make someone sing this in a certain cadence. I don't know what the song is, though. Can we star that? I'm going to star it, and then when he tells me.
Okay. Gorilla says, maybe only Starfleet security is allowed weapons.
Also, I guess...
Go for it.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, from what I've read here, is that Mark Leonard and Jane Wyatt were not sure how to act like Vulcans, so they asked Leonard Nimoy for advice on how they could display their affection. It was Leonard Nimoy, the idea where they touched the two fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That is pretty great.
So much of the Vulcan culture is based on like hand tactile contact, like whether it be mind meld, neck pinch, or sort of affection. I really appreciate it, and it was a great choice by Mr. Nimoy.
Yep.
Is it Nimoy or Nimoy?
I always say Nimoy.
I should adjust my pronunciation.
Oh, and Dalek451 says, thanks for the channel push. Oh yeah, I did push your channel. Well, Stream Elements did. Good, robot.
Yeah, Stream Elements has been doing very well lately, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. Darius Munchausen says, I don't want to explain gold star here, but it's subcultural lingo. Not bad. Oh, okay. Thank you. And the AI show says Starfleet is actually a military exploratory institution, dual entity. I agree.
Agreed.
That is actually in this episode. It is explained exactly as such, as the reasoning that Starfleet is so great is because it is both of those things.
But also something that was expanded later on to say that, you know, Vulcans also had an exploratory fleet. Can I talk about the film for just 1 second?
Fine. You can.
This episode is so amazing, and the first episode of Discovery destroys this episode. That's part of the reason why I hate. Some people say hate is a strong word, and then I see Michael Burnham.
Well, you could say despise, loathe.
No, I'm fine with all of the anger. But like, this episode says that Vulcans abhor violence. They will not do it. And the first episode of Discovery, what do they say? Oh, the first time that they met the Klingons, they shot them. And it's like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. That is against their characteristics. And
correct.
This is a bedrock of Star Trek. Look at it. DC Fontana. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, and Kirk has to defend Starfleet, saying that they only use violence as a last resort themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, those writers are demanding raises as part of the strike.
Well, if they produced anything good, I would pay them.
I agree. Until then, no.
Yeah. Although, but this is also like, and no, we can't talk about that unless you wanted to, which you do. But like, we're also talking about paying people who produced good stuff in the past, which includes people like Walter Koenig, people like William Shatner.
Well, that's just it. There are good writers that are caught up in the strike, writers and actors that are caught up in the strike. But, you know, it's like you have teacher unions and there's bad teachers, and you have police unions and there's bad cops. Until they weed out the bad guys, then they're not going to have the public sympathy. So if we agree to the writers' strike and give them everything they want, we're just going to continue getting the same bad writers. And it's too bad because it's to the detriment of the good writers that are suffering.
Well, and I would rather let 10 guilty men go free than have an innocent man rot in prison. And so for all the bad ones, I want the good one to get their just.
Well, right, but there's an easy answer to that, and that is, let's see if you got good writers in Hollywood right now. What shows and TVs what movies and TV shows do you see them producing? I don't see
Currently?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Currently, nothing.
Well, I don't think that's fair.
Darius explains it to us. The word, even though he said he wasn't going to explain it, he does explain it. If you've only been with women, to Scotty R37, I suppose you'd be a gold star hetero man.
It's true. I am a gold star hetero man then, based on that definition. Thank you.
Franco Walker says either Sarek is a Romulan spy or his twin brother is a Romulan. Yeah.
And his second cousin is a Klingon.
This is Mark Leonard's second appearance. If we do want to talk about that, the book does have something about Mark Leonard.
I do want to talk about Mark Leonard.
Then let's talk about Mark Leonard. There he is.
Why not? He's a handsome devil.
He is. So I will find that. I'm a little out of order today. But
and he was also, unlike his on-screen persona, he was a very fun, likable guy at the conventions. He's cheerful and really good at engaging the audience.
Really? Did you get to meet him?
Yes. Ran into him. I was with my friend Myron, and we got out of an elevator, and Myron actually physically ran into him. He was coming in the elevator, and we were getting out.
Oh, the elevator story, I remember.
Yeah, he almost knocked him over. It was strange to see him. Of course, he had no bodyguards back then, nothing like that.
Oh, man. I wish a Vulcan almost knocked me over. So, page 218 says, casting Mark Leonard as Spock's father, Sarek, was likely a no-brainer for Star Trek's producers. As a Romulan commander in Balance of Terror, he'd make a strong impression both on the show's audience and on its cast and crew. A talented character actor, Leonard bore a fortuitous resemblance to Leonard Nimoy, quite possibly due to the fact that both men's parents were Jewish immigrants who came from the same part of the world, neighboring states in the Soviet Union. The fact that they were playing father and son was a bit more of a stretch, however. At the time Leonard was cast as Sarek, he was only 43, just 7 years older than the man who played his son. As gracious to the fans he encountered at Trek conventions as he was on set, Leonard became extremely popular with Star Trek fans, and they had plenty of opportunities to see him over the years. He was one of the few actors to play the same character in more than one incarnation of Star Trek. A few years after the series ended, he would voice Sarek in an animated episode called Yesteryear. 2 decades later, he would reprise the role in a pair of episodes on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And between those appearances, he played Spock's father in the films Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, as well as a Klingon commander in Star Trek The Motion Picture. He also dubbed the voice of a younger actor who played Sarek in Star Trek V.
Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Yes.
So human.
I want to add, too, is what made it easy for them to hire him as Sarek is we were kind of touching on this a couple months ago, and I didn't get a chance to finish. But when they were, during the early second season, when Leonard Nimoy would start getting a bunch of fan mail, that's when he started demanding more money. And the producers were thinking about replacing him. So they came up with a list of all the actors that could replace him that also resembled him. So Mark Leonard was on that list. But then they were able to negotiate with Leonard Nimoy, that is, to stay on the show. So all they had to do is grab that list, and then that's how they came up with his father.
Thank
Because I told you
goodness.
guys half the story, but I didn't get a chance to finish the second half.
Oh,
Yeah, I
but this
probably
was the
interrupted
perfect
you.
time to tell you tell us the second half. It's
Can
actually
you
probably
please
a good
make it
thing.
so that Amanda's eyes are open? Thank you.
Is
That's
that better? Speaking of Amanda, I can talk about her too. Yama's Queen Jess says, Captain Amanda Sarek and his wife are my parents.
Yeah.
And Mark Harkness says, the novel, The Final Frontier, has George Kirk Sr. exclaim that the starship was, in his words, she's our might and our right. She's both. She has to be.
Who's George Kirk? Is that supposed to be Captain Kirk's
George
father?
Kirk Sr. is, yes.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Jim says, new Star Trek fan film coming out early Monday morning.
Huzzah.
Did Mark Leonard pass within the last year?
Oh
I
no,
don't
it's been
know.
a few years.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's been several years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes.
Let's see.
Although, you know what?
precisely.
Watching this again, like it's something when you're watching these older shows, you tend to sort of say, oh no, they're dead. Oh no, they're dead. But like I was celebrating. I was so happy to see these actors because they've been so incredible and so influential in my life. Like, yes, have they passed? No. But am I happy to see them again? They're kind of immortal.
You're right. They live on through their work. And it was
Mhm.
1996, but he's still here with us every time we watch the episode or the movies that he's in.
Exactly.
Well, and I was considering like Mark Leonard in this episode, he ends up being like Sarek ends up being infirmed. And I was like, why is it that every time Sarek shows up, he's always ill? He's ill in this episode. He's ill in the Sarek from the Next Generation.
But that
He's
episode
ill
makes
at
me cry.
It makes me cry, but I'm easily to cry. And then he obviously passes away in Unification Part 1. And then I was like, oh, why is it that every time they show Mark Leonard, he's always got to die? And then I was so happy to see, like, I thought about it for a bit. And I was like, no, Star Trek 3 and 4, he's a vibrant man. Very like forceful, very authoritative. He's not just an infirmed father. And I really liked that there's an expanse to his character that I appreciated, and I thought he brought gravitas to the whole sitch.
Yeah, and something else with the episode with him and TNG, the one where he was suffering, and where his powers, his powers were out of control and they were affecting everything around him. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
I always felt that the movie Logan ripped that off wholesale.
Ooh, good call.
Did that happen in Logan?
Yeah,
well,
Professor
that's what they
X.
did. Professor X did the same thing in it was a Wolverine movie. It was because as soon as I was watching the movie, I was like, "Well, this is a ripoff of that TNG episode," but it was better done. I prefer the Mark Leonard version. I'll put it that way. It was much more touchable.
Yeah. The episode of The Next Generation was shorter, so I agree with you there.
Yeah, it is really difficult to see a Vulcan lose it in a compelling way that makes sense.
Well, especially right, we had been with the character for so many years.
Yes. Well, and that's also like that's just a characterization of modern Trek, is that they expect you to understand that these people are friends when we kind of grew up with them over 20 years to see them become friends, as opposed to just being told by bad writers that these people are friends.
And you know what else is fantastic? This is the episode that introduced the rift between Spock and his father. And they never closed that rift until it was Star Trek 4, right?
Yes, sir. Well, 3. Well, come on, 3.
Was it 3?
Well, specifically one of those is where Sarek told Spock finally that he said that I can't remember the verbatim, but he finally accepted Spock for his choice with Starfleet and telling him he was a good man. And I can't remember if that was 4 or 6. I think it was 4.
It was 4. Your friends are
yeah.
Your crew.
So that's great.
Are humans of good character. And Spock says, they are my friends. And then Sarek looks at him.
Of course. Yes, that's it.
I would always hang on every time Sarek would show up. I would get excited. My first watch through of Star Trek, anytime Sarek showed up.
But why did you leave
it
him
about
on
time?
Genesis? Why would you deny him his future? Sir, I loved your son like a brother. I saw no future. Oh my God, I love this episode. It is so good. It brings back so many memories, and it makes, like, it encapsulates Star Trek to me. This is...
Well, yes,
this
right
is
here
so
he's defending
beauty.
Starfleet. Force
Yeah,
is used only
to
as a
Amanda.
last resort. We are an instrument of civilization, and it's a better opportunity for a scientist to study the universe than he could get at the Vulcan Science Academy.
But it's also, it's like a weird character interaction, because when Kirk says that Spock will conduct the tour, and Sarek says, I would prefer a different guide, Kirk himself steps up to be the tour guide and then says, Spock, would you come over here and explain the computer modules? And it's like Kirk wants Spock to hang out with his folks, and
Yes.
then everyone involved is like, dude, no.
Yeah, and bristles in a way that only a Vulcan can, in terms of just being dismissive.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just want to say Kapla and Jolan True to Bird of Prey 5.
Kapla, Bird of Prey 5.
Hope you're doing well, Bird.
Yeah, me too. I hope you are doing well. Let me know if you want on the show or not. The AI show says, well, as the novelist
Gaith?
Ghost?
Geet, I think it's Geeta. Or is it?
Right.
Okay. I'll go with it.
There are only 7 or so stories or plots. So different story threads and motifs often get recycled in novels, let alone movies and TV shows.
I've heard that about Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean the novel? Crikey, I'm old. Oh, The Final Frontier? What? Oh, wow. Okay, I missed a few chats.
Oh, no, The Final Frontier, the movie, 1989. That's 34 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Their show says, when I heard of Nimoy, what I heard of Nimoy was that Gene was fine with letting him go from Star Trek, but NBC wanted him to stay, especially considering Spock was the breakout character of the show. I never heard that Gene was fine with letting Nimoy go.
No, it was Gene's idea to come up with the list. They were going to get to Leonard Nimoy's agent saying, well, that's okay, let him quit. We got a whole list right here of people who are going to replace him. And that's what made Leonard Nimoy change his mind.
So it was kind of like a, not necessarily a manipulation tactic, but okay, yes. Like poker, he was playing poker.
Right, and one of the guys, it's in the book, but one of the guys, remember, was also T'Pol's love interest on Amok Time. He was another one that was being considered for a replacement.
Oh,
Ston?
Yeah, that's right. Ston.
And T'Pring, not T'Pol, but I hate to correct.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
do you guys mind if I step away for just a second?
Thank you for that correction. I don't mind. A Bird of Prey 5 says, thanks all, rough week. And it's only Tuesday. Sorry. And hello. Hello, Stark of Iron, Tony.
Hey, Stark of Iron.
And so we're finally here in the rec room where everyone who is headed to the conference at Babel are hanging out.
And I'm not sure about the one on the left, but the one on the right definitely played a Munchkin in The Wizard of Oz.
Well, that's a lot of gold paint that they had to wear today, but it looks good. Let's see. Does this have anything about the gold? I wonder. Manny Kodo originally pushed to have the short gold-skinned species from this episode attend the Coalition of Planets conference in Terra Prime, but it proved too expensive. He named the species Ithnite, a name that is mentioned in Azadi Prime by the Traveler Daniels. What is this from? Continuity? Oh, so Manny Kodo, so that must have been Enterprise.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, I found it. I have the list of the name. I found that I was looking and I found the list of the names who were possible replacements for Leonard Nimoy if negotiations didn't go through.
Oh, okay.
And the list, they call it the A list. Mark Leonard is at the very top, very first name. Mark Leonard, William Smithers, Liam Sullivan, Lloyd Bachner, Joe, the printing is off, Maross, Donald Harbin, Edward Mulhane, James Mitchell, Michael Rennie. Ooh, Michael Rennie from the day the Earth stood still. Mark Richmond, Charles Robinson, Chris Robinson, Stuart Ross, David Canary, John Anderson, and get this, David Carradine. The B list, Anthony James, Perry Lopez, George Bachman, Alan Bergman. Well, needless to say, there's an A, B, and C list. Wow, they were really prepared. Needless to say, Nimoy did get more money. $2,500 per show, plus $100 for expenses.
And that's good.
Better billing, a more lucrative merchandising deal, and more script input.
Mm-hmm.
The other actors received additional increases. DeForest Kelly had already gotten co-star billing.
And
NBC
things
that Desilu now continued to lose even more money on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. And things get even better for Nimoy once he gets into the movies. But
and he sued Paramount again. Remember, they were
right because he kept seeing his face everywhere, and he wasn't getting any of that.
Right, merchandising, all that money. Right, and that was part of the because remember he held out for Star Trek the Motion Picture when they wanted him, and he said, "Well, you pay me for all the merchandising, then I'll So that's why the negotiations were at the very last minute that he signed on for the motion picture. It wasn't until they agreed on the merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I mean, because I'm sure you know the story about that, right? That Zahn character was supposed to replace Leonard Nimoy, the one that died in the transporter accident.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Leonard Nimoy wasn't there from the beginning of the motion picture. But
right,
I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's the reason for the accident. No, I need to review the motion picture sometime. I know.
That would be fun. I love it.
Right.
I know it gets a lot of hate, but I think it's a great movie.
I think so too. Oh, Franco Walker says to Bird, sorry to hear that, but as the song says, F the world and everyone on it. And hello to Matt G. Hello.
Hello, Matt G.
And so the whole reasoning for this conference is to decide whether Corridon gets to be in the Federation. And they're wondering why Sarek, at only the very young age of 102, is retiring. So
that actor with the makeup on the right is the Corrigan, right? He had trouble seeing through the makeup, and that's the reason why he's tilting his head back.
Okay, so this is the Tellarite actor, John Wheeler, and like you said, in character as Gab, had so much trouble seeing through his prosthetics that he had to raise his head to see his castmates. And actually, yeah, this added to the mythos that Tellarites were arrogant and aggressive and belligerent. So that makes sense. And actually, that's actually from the 365 book. I could read that. I could read that page right now. Here it is. This will probably be more fun to read.
You want some water, kid?
So, Tellarites do not argue for reasons. They simply argue, says Sarek. So, weather makeup artist Fred Phillips took his cue for the Tellarite makeup from Sarek's assertion that the species is argumentative from his own creative mind. There's little doubt that the species introduced in Journey to Babel was pig-headed visually as well as culturally. Phillips began his career during the golden era of movies, applying cosmetic makeup to a rainbow of stars, including Loretta Young, Barbara Stanwyck, and Shirley Temple. glamour aside, he excelled at another level of makeup, creating exotic alien features. Philip sculpted and molded the Tellarites' facial features into foam latex prosthetic applications, while wearing the pictured nose and cheek appliance for his portrayal of Ambassador Gab. Actor John Wheeler found that he couldn't see properly through his eye holes, so he tilted his head back to adjust his line of vision. By holding his snout high, Wheeler inadvertently added a pertinent level of arrogance to his character's demeanor, which really shines through, and it doesn't look like he's having difficulty seeing. It just looks like that's his attitude. I wouldn't even have known that if I didn't look that up. So it works really well for his character. And also, it says here that William Blackburn, in an unused makeup scheme for the Tellarites, can be seen in the end credits of The Deadly Years and A Private Little War. Oh, A Private Little War will be next week, actually.
Oh.
And so Canadian Spider-Man will be here for that show. Mark Harkness says the novel Final Frontier by Diane Carey was released in 1988, 17 months before the same named but very different storied Star Trek V. The AI show says, actually, Nimoy ended up suing Paramount after he was doing a movie with Henry Fonda, who noted that there were ads with his likeness all over London. He initially ignored it, but was convinced to take action.
Well, actually, what happened was he was having dinner with Henry Fonda and his wife, and that's when Henry Fonda mentioned it to him. I don't know if Nimoy did a movie with Henry Fonda.
Yeah, I don't think he had to go as far as actually suing. I think he just had to threaten a bit, right?
Right, because basically he said, I want my money, and they said, no, you're not going to get it. And then they came to him saying, we want you to do Star Trek the Motion Picture. He said, well, then pay me for the money I've been asking you for. So right, so it never actually got down to litigation. But the AI show, if he hold on a second.
Sure.
AI show. If you did a movie with Fonda, please let us know. Put it in the credits or in the chat because I'd like to check it out.
Mm-hmm. And it also says here the Andorian makeup was pricey. They had different sets to be created for it. But you know what? There was lots of expense for all of the different aliens you get to see for the conference. But that was okay because it was a bottle episode, so they didn't have to worry about effects outside of all of the makeup.
I have a question for you, Jill, because you know me, I only prefer TOS.
Right.
Do they ever show the Andorians as good guys too, or are they only bad guys? Because the Andorians are good guys too, right? I mean, I know they show up in later Star Trek series.
Well, they're kind of like a gray area in Enterprise. They're very aggressive as they are in this. Obviously, they're actually not
in
even
this
Andorians in this episode.
Right, it's an Orion.
Yeah, they're actually Orions, but Andorians are a good cover because they're supposedly known for also being aggressive. So they are also aggressive in Enterprise, but they kind of have a different kind of edge there, a little bit more personality, and obviously a little more special effects too, because you get to see their emotions with their antennae, and that's probably my favorite.
You mean the antenna move?
Yes. I thought that was really rad.
I'm also a big fan of the actor Jeffrey Combs, and he played an Andorian on, I think, DS9 or one of those Star Trek series.
Yeah, an Enterprise.
Got it. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we didn't get many different alien species in Deep Space Nine. For some reason, only Klingons and existed.
Cardassians
and Bajorans. But we got a few extras. Sometimes a pack lead would be wandering around the station.
And a Ferengi.
Mm-hmm. Did he ever run and play with like the human children, even in secret? And so
this is great.
Yeah. Yes, we get to learn my favorite part. He had a pet Sellet. He was very fond of. sort of fat teddy bear.
I'm so glad they covered that in the animated series.
Me too. Yes. But of course, they're alive teddy bears with fangs.
And I have a note here. Gene Roddenberry wrote the scene in which Amanda tells Kirk of the rift between Spock and Sarek. DC Fontana felt that it would be inappropriate for her to discuss this with someone she had just met, but Roddenberry wanted Kirk to be more involved with the story.
Mm-hmm.
Jane Wyatt was not familiar with the series and had assumed that it was a comedy after reading the script. But on her first day of work, she saw that the cast and crew took the show very seriously.
Yes, but if there is a kind of a funny moment, it is this moment. It's because the joy that McCoy has in learning about his pet is pretty great.
Yeah, McCoy's great in this episode once again.
Yes. And of course, we have the Play-Doh food. I love the Play-Doh.
I was wondering, well, I was watching when they were dropping it in the glasses. Are they Play-Doh or are they sponges?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
Because they did float on the liquid, because he put a couple in each glass, the two short guys. They put a couple in each glass, and he poured the liquid, and it floated to the top of the liquid.
Well, yeah, that is actually a good question. Let's see if it says here what they are. It would be in the set if it's here at all.
You know, almost like you put ice in drinks. But I was wondering that when I watched it. I was thinking, okay, are those two objects going to sink to the bottom, or they're going to float to the top, and they floated to the top?
I have to know, what are the food cubes made of?
I don't know if you're going to find it there. But sometimes we've had close-ups, like when they were eating, where it looked like just cubes of fruit. But I'm not sure that's what they have here.
Man. Well, if anybody knows in the chat, because I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really research this, but it's something that I would want to know. And definitely,
maybe you in the chat, let us know.
Fruit would make sense.
No, but I love the food cubes.
Well, they're here on display right now, so I had to mention them.
Did you already see the gold Oompa Loompas?
Yes. Do you want to see them?
All right. No. It's weird if I ask. Hello, Pinkskins.
Yeah. Well, you missed the whole conference almost.
So there they are.
Hello. Doopity-doo.
Like, because
Starfleet doing for you?
They're talking about the Corridon over them, so I figured they're the Corridon, even though we don't ever get to talk to the Corridon. We're the Corridon. They have a mining planet. That's all we know, and they want to be part of the Federation.
The Corridons do.
Yeah, the new Charlie and Chocolate Factory looks like a travesty.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Tellarites. Fan? Do you like Tellarites? I love Andorians, but I do not like Tellarites.
They're rude. They're pigs.
Oh, well, do they show up in any other Star Trek series, the Tellarites?
Enterprise, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And also, this is actually a little bit of a trivia for the animated series, is that they were gonna, or maybe it was a Next Generation episode, but they were gonna send Spock back to replace Surak, because McCoy refers to Mrs. Surak as opposed to Sarek, and there was going to be some sort of situation between the pronunciation of Sarek and Surak. But I do appreciate that they did, like, the mispronunciation by McCoy is rectified later in the episode. And I think we can also lay to rest. How do you pronounce the planet that they're going to? Where is the journey to?
Babel.
Thank you.
Right. I think it's Babel because there's only one B. I mean, Babel is two B's, right?
That's what I thought.
It's definitely Babel in this episode. And I'm great with that.
Well, it's funny, too, because they never actually arrive there as part of the episode. The whole episode takes place even before they get there.
A teddy bear.
Yes. But on Vulcan, the teddy bears are alive with 6-inch fangs.
And I agree with Ari with Babel.
Ichaya.
Oh, could you read what you agree?
It was the
Ari
last one.
says, is anyone concerned about the blatant racism or speciesism, in parentheses, in Sarek's remark about the Tellarites? Concerned? I don't know.
Okay, now, if he's using logic, I don't think he's doing it as an insult. I think he's just saying logically what they do or what they are, even though it sounds bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Because he wouldn't, right? He wouldn't. I don't think he would be lashing out like a racist would, or a sexist, or a xenophobic.
It's an identification.
Yeah, it's just describing their nature. Tellarites do not argue for reasons; they simply argue, and so
Right.
it is possible that that is a character trait that they portray. That they try to keep the argument going until they get what they want.
Well, and let's not forget that in Deep Space Nine, a Vulcan and a Ferengi have a conversation, and a Ferengi says, "Well, what is the logic in war?" And so, yeah, no, there's an identification and an assumption as to what the stereotype presents, but those stereotypes are not always accurate.
And that's true too. You might meet a Tellarite who does not argue, and he's a great scientist because it's a spacefaring civilization. So some of them are going to be nice.
Well, and I've never seen a lady Tellarite. I wish I would.
Me neither. So you're right. You're right, Ari Babel. I think Star Trek in general has a problem with giving certain characteristics to species that kind of unify them in a way.
Well, that is something. Like, that's been an identification of each of the species in Star Trek as being monoliths, and they just represent. Vulcans are logical. Klingons are warriors. Romulans are deceitful. But it's when you get to know the individuals that you find out the depth of the species.
Right, and that's with anybody. It doesn't matter what group you're pigeonholed as. I don't know you until I've met you.
Yes. Don't judge a person by the points on their ears. Judge them by the content of their character.
And Darius Munchausen says, I've been wrong my whole life. Oh, probably Babel? Yeah,
is
no,
that...
I think what it is it is an Americanized pronunciation, and for whatever reason, everybody else in the world agrees with Babel. So us Americans just need to get with the program, I think.
All right.
And I'm getting used to it. Mark Harkness says Sarek has dealt with Gav before, and frankly, Sarek is not a perfectly emotionless being. He can get irritated, and he could put the barb in with a particular Tellarite.
Well, let's not forget, Sarek's sexual proclivities lean towards the human.
Yeah.
So he digs emotional people. And
it's never been that Vulcans don't have emotions. It's that their emotions are so incredibly strong that they must control them.
Yeah, but Vulcans have subscribed to arranged marriages based on their culture since the teachings of Surak. So for him to desire a human woman, I'm sure would have been viewed upon by his peers as being emotional.
Oh, it's possible. Do you think he got teasing from his friends too when he was a kid?
No, because I'm pretty sure he met Amanda when he was like 50.
Oh, then he got teased when he was 50.
Yeah, well, and then he would have said, "Shut the fuck up, yo."
No, if Sarek met her when he was 50, that would make her at least 70 years old in this. So I'm guessing he met her when he was like 70 or 80.
I think Amanda is like my Sharona. I think Sarek only gets it up from the touch of a younger kind. My Amanda.
I guess they don't say how old Spock is. Do they ever establish that at all in any of the movies?
He's about the same age as Kirk. He's a really young
I thought he
Vulcan.
was. Well, Kirk's 34 or 33, and I think Spock is like. I think Spock's like 60.
No, I think he's younger. I think he is in his 30s too. But
How old is Tuvok in
Oh.
Voyager?
well, that's a different question.
That is a good. Yeah, it's a different question. I think Tuvok is like 70.
Yeah, I think Tuvok is older too. Tuvok is an older man he's married, he has children and everything, so he's established.
I'm going to take Yamis, Queen Jess's assessment. Spock is 36.
Thank you,
Okay,
Yamis. That sounds right.
works.
But also,
He's a
Gorilla
youngin'.
says Spock is 39.
Oh,
Either way, he's in his 30s.
Right, it's open to speculation. That would
But
have been
they
a good
do,
question
it's
for
not
Leonard
open.
Nimoy. Yeah, that'd have been a good question for Leonard Nimoy at the conventions. I don't know if he would have that answer or not.
But it is established very specifically how old Sarek is. He's 101.357.
Yeah, and before I get too far into the episode, I do want to read what the book has to say about Jane Wyatt.
Father knows best.
Yeah,
Really?
Amanda.
Yeah, that's
So-
where she came from. She was known for that before this.
To a generation of baby boomer children who'd grown up watching Father Knows Best, actress Jane Wyatt was the quintessential mom to the parents of those children. She was the perfect wife or girlfriend, invariably paired in films with the major league actors such as Cary Grant, Randolph Scott,
Mm.
or Gary
Mm.
Cooper. And
Oh,
of course, to fans of classic film, she was the charming young woman Ronald Colman had the misfortune to leave behind, but the good sense to return to, in Frank Capra's Last Horizon. Wyatt's delicate features and good-natured grace served her well over a lengthy career. And Star Trek's producers showed similar grace in crediting the actress as Miss Jane Wyatt in the episode's end credits. It was a rare, old-fashioned gesture, even in the 1960s, the showbiz equivalent of a tip of the hat to a woman with a long and distinguished career. Wyatt's warm and affectionate performance as Amanda, Spock's human mother, made it easy to comprehend how she could melt the Vulcan reserve of both father and son. D.C. Fontana, who wrote this episode, says she named Spock's mother Amanda because the name means worthy of being loved. Could there be a better reason to marry someone? Of course, when warmth alone didn't do the trick, Amanda had in reserve a human mother's gift for emotional manipulation to make an impression on a stubborn child. When you were 5 years old and came home, stiff-lipped, anguished because the other boys tormented you, saying that you weren't really Vulcan, I watched you, knowing that inside the human part of you was crying, and I cried too. There must be some part of me in you, some part that I can still reach. If being Vulcan is more important to you, then you'll stand there, speaking rules and regulations from Starfleet and Vulcan philosophy, and let your father die. And I'll hate you for the rest of my life. Well,
Mother. I cannot.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, it was. Well, no one ever said that mother-son relationships were easy on any planet.
It's if you are only watching, listening to these reviews without having seen the episodes, I admire you. Thank you for playing. Please like, subscribe, share. But this is like my heart swells watching this relationship between Jane Wyatt and Mark Leonard, the way that they perform it, the way, like, look at that slight smile. Like, the only person who could make Sarek, ambassador of Vulcan, even remotely show some emotion is his wife.
Mm.
And also, and this is something that harkens to the future when we get Sarek in The Next Generation when Sarek mind melds with Picard, and Picard laments all of the emotions that have been pent up over the course of Sarek's life. And he's like, Amanda, Spock. Never says Cybok or Michael, I'll tell you.
No, he does not. And that tells you enough.
But
I did a rant about Cybok the other day.
Yeah, but I like Cybok.
I know.
Cybok's my jam, yo.
It's the actor that I loathe.
You didn't like Cocktail?
He's the least worst of Spock's secret siblings.
Yeah, true. He's the least. He is the valedictorian of summer school.
He's not as bad as Michael. Michael. God, they even gave her a man's name. Jeez.
Come on. Do we even have to talk about her? Yep. That?
No, we don't.
Great.
But I'm feeling a little lenient today if you guys want to talk about stuff.
No, I don't. I would prefer to look at this through the prism of amazing. And
so, Scotty, what do you think about the new effect of the ship? You said you watched this with the old effects. What do you think about the difference?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I didn't see the ship, but it looks like it's just sort of like a circular...
Go back a few frames, Jill.
Well, it's going to show up again. It was a bad picture of the ship.
Yeah, it'll show up later.
Okay, yeah.
And so this is the scene where Sarek has a argument with the Tellarite. Oh, wait, there's the purple lady.
And I love this because the Tellarite attacks him, and we see how quickly, and it shows how strong Sarek is compared to the Tellarite.
Yes.
Right. He just has to lift his arms up to defend himself. He doesn't even have to push.
Nope, just barely, and he knocked the guy back.
Well, and also, like, I don't know if this is canonical, but you see a Tellarite in the Star Trek 25th Anniversary video game by Interplay, and you get to see the legs of a Tellarite, and they are sort of hoofed. So he's kind of off balance anyway. He is an upright goat. He's a goat pig man. You know how your knees bend? Reverse that. That's how Tellarites work.
Yeah, that's like the aliens from the movie Arrival.
Yeah, it's not canon, but it makes sense to me.
And I like that where Sarek said, "Understood, Captain," because basically the guy attacked Sarek, and Sarek was just defending himself, but he said, "Understood, Captain," instead of saying, well, he started first.
Right, there was no argument of that. That would have been childish, and they did not make this scene at all childish.
Right. And payment is usually expensive. I love that.
Well, we don't have to talk about that guy anymore because he's dead.
There will be payment for your slander, Sarek. Threats are illogical. And payment is usually expensive. And that gets repeated again if you watch the Enterprise episode. Didn't it just come up in the Mirror episode for Enterprise? In the Mirror
Which one? What about, what was it? Tellarites?
No, that phrase.
Threats are illogical?
No, expensive.
I don't recall. Remember how I apologized to you for not watching the episode?
All right. I know the episode better, so.
Okay. You know it better than I do, so I can't help.
I want to see if it's here. Yeah. T'Pol says threats are illogical. Oh, he does. She doesn't say the whole. She doesn't say the whole quote, but that's where it comes from.
But that's also a mirror universe, so I don't think it counts.
It is a reference to it, though, according to the notes on that episode.
Okay, well, it's from the same authors of the book that you are reading from currently. That was referenced by Raquel M. Briggs.
Well, I don't know specifically. No, I don't think
I remember.
Did a Enterprise episode.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, Enterprise book.
Yeah,
I need it. If they did, I need to buy it.
Oh man, come on. Don't you wish you looked that good? He's got a little bit of moves, but like that's a corn-fed, steak-eating, milk-drinking man. That guy, if he punched you in the face, he is thick as a tree trunk. I love the physique of William Shatner in 1967.
Yeah, he's great.
He is. Come on, back up one more. Let's see some nipples. There you are. Come on. That guy is hefty.
Mm-hmm.
He could cut down a tree.
Mark Harkness says the relationship between Sarek and Amanda is one reason I give Ben Cross credit for his portrayal. You asked
me once why I married your mother. I married her because I loved her.
Okay, I know who Ben Cross is. When did he play Sarek? Was it the new movie?
Star Trek 2009.
Oh, okay.
No, but it's good. It's a good performance.
Well, I like Ben Cross. It's just that I guess my mind is when it's like a traumatic event, and it forces me to forget those movies.
Darius says, I'm beginning to question your gold star.
Beginning? Oh, about being heterosexual. Oh, come on, it's Shatner. I get a gold star out of free.
Yeah, it's a get out of gold star confiscation. I don't know. Anyway.
I hate to take a detour into Quentin Tarantino, but when he wrote True Romance, and he's got Clarence Worley, and it's like, you know what? I'm gold star heterosexual, but if I had to have sex with one man, Clarence Worley's answer, Elvis Presley. My answer, I think it's obvious. And John Hamm.
Oh.
Speaking of which, John Hamm is our guest this afternoon.
Hello to Ervik Saunders. Well, that would be incredible if you had John Hamm. Oh my goodness.
No, I could. Yeah, it would be. And also Cybok. Come on, I think Cybok is canon. Totes.
He'd probably be easier to convince to show up on a live stream.
Than William Shatner, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, William Shatner says he doesn't do podcasts.
But he recently was on a podcast.
I know. Shh.
I think it's how big.
He's been on several.
Yeah, I think it's how big the podcast, and he's not going to go on somebody with a few thousand subscribers. It's got to be a really big one to get his attention.
What about a couple hundred?
Well, Red Letter Media has millions, and he turned them down.
Yeah, but that's also because he insulted old people.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Mike was a huge fan.
Yeah, it was a big misunderstanding, basically. Mike tried really hard. It was sad.
It was.
He did. Like, if you watch that video, Red Letter Media versus William Shatner is one of the most heartbreaking things of a person saying, like, never try to meet your heroes.
He couldn't even get the right shirt, and William Shatner pointed that out. By the way, you're wearing the wrong shirt. It's like, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like Bill had never seen a clown before. No, not really. It's sad for them, but also it's like when I
think they're still blocked, so it is sad.
But if it's something that you could have never achieved, when it's taken away, you were never going to achieve it in the first place. So what's the big deal?
I guess.
You took away the nothing that I didn't have.
Darius says, I love the True Romance script. Tarantino knows more about this area than he should. I do too. And there's actually a reference to Captain Kirk and William Shatner in True Romance when they're in the car. I used to have the clip. You're going to meet Captain Kirk.
Well, and he did script polishing on Crimson Tide. And that's when Denzel Washington says, you remember on Star Trek when Scotty says, I need more power? Well, I need more power. Okay. And that was a Tarantino line. No. But I don't want to see a Tarantino Star Trek movie ever in my life. And I'm glad that it's never going to happen. Thank heavens.
I don't know.
No, I don't think we're never going to, until Paramount sells Star Trek, we're never going to get another Star Trek
honestly,
movie.
I wouldn't mind a Mirror Universe one, but I understand where you're coming from. So, I like this part of the episode because it does really feel like it's possible that Sarek did this, even though.
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I was young, I thought it was very suspicious. I thought so too. I didn't.
Yeah, they frame it very well.
Right, looking back at it now, it's like, oh, no way, no way you would do that. But when you're young and you're watching this for the first or second time, it kind of throws you off. It's kind of like a murder mystery. Okay, who done it?
And do you guys think that Spock is being more Vulcan in this episode because his parents are around?
Do you think
maybe about the same? Maybe trying to.
I don't think
he's acting like he's trying to keep his distance from his dad.
Yeah, he's giving him the space that his dad wants.
Yes,
that's true.
He's also being very sort of distant and cold with his mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, until a little bit later.
Oh, and then this is where Sarek, he collapses because he's old.
Well, and has the cardiac
continuing
malfunction.
Yes, all 6 of his chambers of his heart.
And so his alibi is that he was meditating.
I would like to say that he just had a heart attack. Like, not now, but when he was meditating on the observation deck, he also had a heart attack. This is the second heart attack he's had in like half an hour.
And McCoy has never really cared for a Vulcan, unhealthy Vulcan patient, because Spock's always is so young, is so healthy, that McCoy really hasn't had to do much with Vulcans.
Well, and which is, you know what? I was thinking about this while I was watching the episode, because it is something that it is a character that shows up in Strange New Worlds, is we later get in the original series Dr. Mbenga. And I was like, oh, well, maybe this is part of the reason why they brought Dr. Mbenga aboard, is because, you know what? Maybe we should have a Vulcan specialist. No, but it's in the original series. The guy. Dr. Mbenga is in the original series.
Oh, yeah, I know, but he comes later. He hasn't even shown up yet.
I'm lost.
He hasn't even shown up in the original series. And
no, I know, but
yet.
I thought that this was...
When is there a Dr. Mbenga on TOS?
Later. You'll see him.
Yeah, he does show up. He is real. He's just misplaced.
Why is he misplaced?
In
Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? He'd be like in Strange New Worlds, Dr. Mbenga would be fine. I would appreciate Dr. Mbenga if he was clean shaven. Because quite frankly, if someone is going to perform surgery, shave.
Or if he were actually the chief medical officer of his quarters.
Well, come on. We can go into a rabbit
Nurse
hole.
Chapel is the chief medical officer.
No,
why do they even bother?
It should be Boyce or Piper. We do not need either of those characters yet. Or before. No. The medical team in Star Trek New Worlds is counter canon and trash.
It is. And you're making me think about it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hey, Herc's here.
Well, I wanted to see.
Good to see you, Herc.
Yes, hello to Herc130. And Darius says Tarantino would use the mirror universe so he could drop F-bombs. Well, he would have to. Yeah, right. That's the only universe Tarantino could be in.
I don't know if he's a true Star Trek fan. I think he'd be smart enough not to do that.
What does Shran look like? Say Say pink skin again. Say pink skin again.
I do think that Tarantino cares about Star Trek enough to go with what would fall into the universe correctly.
Right, because he criticized J.J. Abrams and he said, you know, none of this makes sense. And J.J. Abrams said, yeah, you know, you're right.
Yeah, well, I don't care about any of that.
Oh, the
I'm
AI
sorry to
show
be
says
dismissive.
Kill Tribbles Part 1 coming this fall.
Mr. Darvin.
You said Kill Tribbles. You made my Tribble mad. Sean Carter says, that's right, you don't. Because scoring dead Andorians ain't my thing.
Did you see a sign over my garage that said dead Andorian storage here? That's right, you didn't.
So, yeah. So once
I can't believe I got through all of that without swearing. Anyway.
Uncle Walker. And Ari Babel says, Kill Tribbles Part 2. Part 1 was great. Kill Tribbles Part 2 was all talk. What are you actually?
What is that?
Well, Kill Bill Part 1 was great because that was the great Tribble slaughter, but then Kill the Tribbles 2 was all like what?
Drama.
It was all quadro triticale and shit.
Wait a second.
And I have a quick note here.
Oh, quadro triticale.
Am I the only one here who hasn't heard of this week?
Sorry, pop culture. You may give us your name.
No, it's just a quick note here. Jane Wyatt has said that some years after this episode was filmed, while waiting in an airport, she heard someone cry out the name Amanda. And she said at first that she had no idea it was a fan trying to get her attention, and she had completely forgotten the name of the character she had played.
Oh, and so she didn't recognize that someone was calling out to her.
Right, and of course some Star Trek fan's going to call her by Amanda, not Jane.
Exactly. I would too. I wouldn't know. Except I would know now because I did the show.
Well, it's like Mrs. Natalie Shaver, who played Mrs. Howell on Gilligan's Island. There was an interview with her, and she said that at some point somebody walked up to her and said, hey, you know, aren't you from Gilligan's Island? And she said, yes. And they asked, well, how's your husband? And she said, oh, he's dead. And they said, Mr. Howell is dead? And she said, no, that's a character on a TV show. My real husband's dead.
Oh.
Well, that's like the time that I met Jim Backus, and I said, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. And so I misquoted a rebel without a cause, and I quoted The Room to that, you know, Mr. Backus.
You met Jim Backus?
No.
Oh. I wish I could have.
Well, no, come on. Like, I was born in 1978. When did Jim Backus pass away?
Well, it was literally right after they made, I'm sad to say, the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island. Which was the early 80s.
Why would you be sad about that?
Because he doesn't like basketball. He's more of a baseball fan.
Well, the movie wasn't very good, and what sticks with me is they established in the series, now this is going into a rabbit hole, but they established in the series that the Howells never had any kids. But suddenly in that movie, there was a Thurston Howell the fourth.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yes, and he was there because Jim Backus was too weak from Alzheimer's to fill the whole entire role, and that's why he only had the cameo at the very end.
And they literally wheeled him out on a dolly.
I allowed those movies to be terrible. Like, not all of the movies are bad, but...
Well, but you don't get any Tina Louise. Really this is a perfect... Pop Culture Curator, this is a perfect time to promote your Wednesday show.
Oh, well, on my channel, if there's any Gilligan's Island fans out there, Gorillas, Random Thoughts, and myself, we cover 2 episodes every Wednesday. And just like we're doing here with Star Trek, you'll find a lot of behind-the-scenes info and trivia, and you'll learn a lot. I usually delve into the history of the actors and the characters and how the shows were created. I have a book called Inside Gilligan's Island, written by the producer, Sherwood Schwartz. So Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, if you are so inclined. Thank you.
You know, you could
Yes,
you could
absolutely.
sit right back. You could hear a tale.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good tale of a.
And the difference is we're actual fans. So we're not there to tear it apart.
Right.
Because I love Gilligan's Island. To me, it's like another family. So
It's lovely. It's fun. Sean Carter says Mbenga is in Private Little War, which is really cool because that's the
Oh, is
next
that the
episode
one?
for next
Okay.
week. Yeah.
Oh, but Canadian Spider-Man's going to be on that one. That's going to be
Yeah,
great.
he'll be here. Yeah, that'll be
Oh,
good.
he's going to be on the panel with us?
Yes. With
Oh,
us.
good.
Hey, Flyboy. Herc130 says, I finally broke free and can join the chat.
Hooray. Yeah, I'm a screen. This joke always gets me. Canon and canon. What is canon? I fall for it every time. The AI show says Dilithium Critic, Tarantino's last movie.
Oh, yeah. No, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, man. Yeah. I can't wait for that movie. And Captain Infinity is here.
Hello,
Hello,
Captain
Captain
Kennedy.
Infinity.
Cheers.
All of
And-
the expletives.
And the AI show says Bacchus was sick during the last Gilligan's movie, but showed up for a cameo.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, yes, at the very end there when it showed Bacchus and he filmed his scene and they said, cut. The first thing he said to the cast members was, I funny? Was I funny? And they said that it was hard to hold back the tears.
Well, but also now, like, and in a similar vein, and I don't want to take away from Jim Backus, but like and it may be apocryphal and it's gossip and hearsay, but from what I understand, one of the last things that DeForest Kelley said was, we should make another one of those Star Trek movies. We had a lot of fun making those, didn't we?
He was very frail by the time they made Star Trek 6.
Star Trek 7 he was supposed to be in. He wanted to do it, but he couldn't. They wouldn't clear him.
Man.
Well, don't worry
But
about it,
at
ladies
least we
and
get him
gentlemen.
here. We get
Dr.
him here in
McCoy
this
is going to
episode.
have the last word on this episode.
Oh, yeah. He does. He has the last word.
Finally.
Ariba Bell says Tina Louise was a product of the actor's studio of James Lipton fame. It's sad Gilligan's Island is her claim to fame.
Believe me, she agrees with you.
Oh, the AI show read the Inside Gilligan's Island while in college. I couldn't believe Sherwood
Nice.
to sell Gilligan's to the network as a social microcosm.
Right, there we go. There's another fan.
Hello. Welcome to Gilligan's Island, where no other ethnicities except Caucasians exist.
No, there was some natives.
Mechaleka High, Mekachani Ho.
Well, and it was turned down a few different times too, so it's not like everything was greenlit from the beginning. He worked really hard to get the show greenlit and accepted and all that stuff. I mean, even after the pilot, they turned it down, and he had to go back and re-edit the pilot and show it to them again at the last minute.
So, just going back to the episode just for a little bit.
Are we going to talk about Star Trek?
Well, I wanted to and this scene is important to me because it would be difficult for me to be married to a Vulcan because of this scene. Knowing that he hides something as insanely important as him having had several heart attacks from his wife since simply because she cannot do anything about it.
I didn't find any reason to tell you about something that you couldn't have altered.
And I didn't want you to worry. Right? It's like
why would I tell you?
Worry.
Yeah.
Why would I tell you?
But I like to know because when that kind of thing eventually takes Sarek from me or whatever Vulcan I'm married to, I'm going to be more upset that I didn't get the warning. The warnings.
Yep. Understandable.
But that's one of the things that permeates the episode is that Kirk is asking Spock, it's like, come on, are you okay? Your dad just had a heart attack. And he's like, yeah, no, I accept it, but that is the reality of the situation and I accept it as fact. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I can do to alter that fact, moving forward, Captain, I have analyzed the power distribution of the enemy attacker. And Kirk is like, all right, I guess. If you don't want to dwell on this, then I'm not going to make you.
Exactly. But I would just like to know. I can accept something, but I want to know about it. Yama's Queen Jess says, but Vulcans have a telepathic bond with their mates, and that's a good point too.
Yes. And we had a lengthy conversation with Raquel M. Briggs, and we sort of broke down Ponfar and the nature of...
Yeah, a year ago. This month.
Yeah.
On Canada Day on July 2nd, July 1st, whatever day it is, of last year.
Like, can you imagine being a human mate to a Vulcan? Man or woman, being human, it doesn't matter. You only get to have physical coitus once every 7 years, but the rest of the time, you have intellectual telepathic intimacy.
Yes, and I do believe that is probably the way it would work.
I would think so. To me. I was convinced.
Ship sensors would have verified Sarek's alibi.
In the 23rd century, I don't know if they had internal sensors that accurate.
And Franco Walker says, but Amanda is human. Even though she doesn't have telepathic power, she can accept telepathic communication from Sarek.
Mm-hmm. Also, like...
Otherwise, the finger touching thing would mean nothing.
When he decides it.
Like, when Sarek and Amanda touch hands, I'm assuming it's part of the reason why Amanda wears gloves, is because she is overcome with bliss because of the telepathic touching.
She never took them off? I didn't think about that.
No, she's always wearing gloves when she's touching the two fingers.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good observation. But Sarek needs to have open heart surgery.
Right.
A cryogenic
and
one.
This is another thing when it comes to 23rd century medicine, is that they do not have dermal regenerators.
Mm-hmm. And welcome to the panel, Captain Infinity.
Hello there.
Hey, Captain Infinity, good to see you there.
Yeah,
good
have you seen this episode?
Hey, I'm just waking up. I don't even know what my name is at the moment.
All right. Well, you wake up. I'm gonna go have a cigarette. It's not because you're here. It's because I need satisfaction now that you've arrived.
Very good.
Sorry. Forgot to mute. Sorry.
Well, Scotty, isn't that technology available in court-martial? Oh, he's not here anymore, so...
I think he's gone.
I don't know what... I lost what technology.
Are you talking about the dermal regenerator or whatever he said? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, was he talking about the dermal regenerator? Then... Right.
I know we saw that in TNG, I think, right?
The new device we see in this episode is the stimulator, the heart stimulator, to get because Sarek's heart stops.
Yes.
And Yama's Queen Jess is correct. When they're touching fingertips, they're kissing. Yes, that is a Vulcan kiss. Walker funny. Amanda wears gloves while fingering Sarek. Yes.
Maybe like a condom.
Sure. So Sarek needs a whole bunch of blood, but he has a particularly rare blood type. Oh no.
Well, it's fortunate that Spock's blood will work, considering Spock's half human.
Oh, and Mark Harkness says it's not a Vulcan thing that Sarek keeps things from Amanda. It's a male thing. Speaking as a male, who is guilty of this? Oh, there is some truth in art. Sometimes.
Well, it is. I mean, for generations, when men get injured or they have problems, they're afraid to tell their wives because they don't want their wives to worry. It's just a protective.
And then we're suddenly
thing.
surprised you're dead. Like, what the hell?
Right. It's not a sexist thing. It's just that it's a protective thing. They don't like to see their wives in pain or to worry. Is all.
All right. But Sarek's blood type is T negative, and it's rare. Spock has the same blood, but it's not fully Vulcan, so they have to take out the human blood elements.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Chances are extremely small. Well, I would be like, if I'm in Dr. McCoy's sick bay, believe me, I have the best chances than anywhere else in the galaxy. So I would trust him over anybody else.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be glad to be on the Enterprise too. And especially with Spock working diligently toward saving his father.
Yes. That's another thing too, is you have full faith in these characters. You don't doubt them, and the other crew members don't mock them.
Right, and
Like-
you definitely know their motivations and what they're doing and why they're doing it, and
Right.
everything makes sense.
Right, and like I said before, Kirk is a brave, strong man, and I would trust him and respect him as a leader. And that's something that the new shows, they just can't quite get that, because it's like they turn the captains of their ships into jokes.
Yeah, no, Kirk takes command. He any situation that he's put in front of, and he knows how to interact with everyone.
Plus, everyone around him respects him. No rolling of the eyes, if you know what I mean.
And what makes McCoy a great doctor is that he points out his shortcomings in not having done any Vulcan surgery. He's never overly confident when there's no warrant to be, because he doesn't. This is something brand new to him, and he's not afraid to say.
Yes.
So they're going to do this experimental blood transfusion because Sarek can't really take the drugs because he's too sick. So Spock is going to take it, and they're going to transfer the blood that way.
Can you go back like 2?
Sure. This one?
Yeah, can I make that like my second Tinder profile picture? Already pulled. You're perfectly healthy.
Okay.
And this is the first time we've
send it
seen
to
Nurse
you.
Chapel in several episodes.
It
Yeah,
is. I was
Mr.
surprised. Like early on in the episode, I was like, "Where's Sulu?" And I was like, "Never mind. Christine
Well,
is
no-
here. I'm happy."
What we'll notice in this episode, later, Captain Kirk tells, he basically says, get Scotty up to take over the ship. And then Jimmy Doohan's not even in this episode. But they do mention Scotty.
Yeah, so he's there, but he's not there.
Right.
Your imagination thinks he's in engineering.
It fills in the blanks, right?
Also, it's a really great like presentation of the engineering set, but we're now in sick bay.
The AI show says the other characters don't mock them because these three mock each other.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, they're like brothers.
But still respect each other, right? They'll joke around, but they respect each other when the chips are down.
If they're professional, they won't mock each other in front of the subordinates.
Especially, yes, in front of the subordinates, especially. That would be a definite no.
Mhm. And Spock is ready to sacrifice.
And you can really tell how they've expanded the set of sickbay since we first started watching this in the first season. It's gotten much larger. You see the extra rooms and stuff.
That's a good point. It did feel different.
Because remember how claustrophobic and small it was in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a waiting room. The doctor's got a waiting room. He's going to use it. You're going to have to wait.
And so here's the
Here we go.
Meanwhile,
And we get our music, our fight music, of course.
Of course.
bum, 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 bum.
No, it's the it's that one.
We got a kick. We got a double punch. Kirk.
No, ba, 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 ba. Not that one.
Oh,
Stab.
Jill, you didn't get a slide where you got stabbed.
Oh, I guess not. He did get
No, back
stabbed.
one. Come on. That was good.
That's where it happens anyway.
Well, the reason why I want to mention it is when the Andorian stabs him, it's in the lower back.
Orion, actually.
Oh,
right.
yeah. We're not supposed
Oh,
to.
Babel, Babel. Let's call the whole thing off.
Right. But if you watch it, he's stabbed in the lower back. But Bones said it barely misses his heart, and the bandages is up high on the chest when they show him later in sickbay.
Oh, okay. So he has pain in the wrong area.
Well, but
Right.
if you were to
The
stab
actor,
someone
I guess the actor didn't stab him in the right place.
well, no,
Because-
but if you were to stab, no, I think you're incorrect, Pop. I hate to be
You're
specific.
incorrect, Captain. Just rolls off the tongue,
I-
doesn't it, Scotty?
It does.
I make mistakes, so it's very possible.
No, but like if the blade doesn't have to go horizontally; it can be up.
That's what she said.
It could be hooked.
Yeah, I guess possibly. So you mean like stab him in the lower back, but then shift the blade upwards, or kind of stab
I'm
him
saying,
upwards?
yeah, I'm saying like a 45-degree angle between his ribs, upward.
Okay.
Welcome to Shiving with Confidence.
Yeah, no, I've been in prison.
101, shiving 101.
I cut
What, like a
fool.
day?
Yeah. This is so good too. Like Kirk calls and says security. Not I need a medical team. It's like, no, there's a guy
Protect
here
my
who I
ship.
just protect my ship.
Now, the characters in, do they all pronounce it Babel? Is there anyone on set on the day that said Babel?
No.
It's definitely Babel.
It's Babel.
So it is Babel, not Babel, Bobble, Bibble. Good to
Correct.
know.
Buble.
The
AI
Terror
show says-
Buble.
I wonder if this fight took place in the lower decks.
I think it was deck 5.
Oh, and hey, welcome back, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. He says, all your questions are on Memory Alpha. It is your friend. Well, no, not all the time.
Well,
But I am
I'm
using
The
Wayback
caps lock
Machine
is your friend.
in order to keep the filth out of my scrolling as much as possible.
and also I am like I'm a Star Trek expert. I'm kind of a scholar when it comes to this stuff. So I know the details ish. Like I'm in the
You've been
85
watching Star Trek since you were
percentile.
3.
Yeah, true story.
Okay. Jill, can I share this clip here?
Can I share one first?
Yes.
And then you go? Can I go first?
Go for it.
Thank you. So this is one of my favorite things because this is when it turns into McCoy's episode where who saves the day? His name is Leonard. And where is it? There he is.
I'll let there be a lesson to you. Just lie there and be happy you're still alive.
Okay, there you see the bandage around his chest, right?
Yes, there's a bandage around his chest.
All right.
Correct.
I've got the clip here where they do the fight. I want you guys to give me your opinion.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get it big so I can actually watch
Let
it.
me know when you're ready.
Okay.
That is what she said. Sorry, that was too easy.
Okay,
That's
here it
what she
is.
said.
Now, I'm only going to play a few seconds, God. I want you to strike.
All
So
too
here-
easy.
So here, we're going to see where Captain Kirk gets stabbed in the back.
What?
And I want you to notice where the Orion or the Andorian stabs him. Now watch right
Oh!
here. Right here.
Double
watch.
kick.
See? Look at that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I could be wrong. I'm probably reading too much into it. Thank you, Joe.
But no, I
I
love it
think
when you try to correlate some production stuff that look fishy to you. So
I think it's an uppercut stabbing. I think that he's
It
stabbed
could be.
between lower ribs, and then
Right.
it's like if he had stabbed him up one rib cage level, please. Then yeah, totes.
Knife fighting, so violent, so primitive, a mere barroom brawl.
So primitive.
mhm.
Oh, why couldn't all captains be trained to fight? You think they would be?
Well, come on. This pseudo Andorian he jumped Kirk.
Well, I was basically referring to, if not Spock himself, but actually Leonard Nimoy, who, when suggested that he was going to bash some ruffian around the head, surely a Vulcan nerve pinch. So I'm just, although Kirk is a human, it's just like, well, in the future, we have no more war, no need for money. We're an advanced society. Smack, bang, pow, pow, pow. And, it's just not really becoming a captain, is it?
Ari Babel says, it was an upward thrust. And in response to that, I say, Ari, you're an upward thrust.
Oh, you know what? There's something in the remaster that's not something in the original that's not in the remaster. So for some unknown reason, during the fight between Delev and Kirk, just after Kirk's failed wall kick, the comical sound of a coconut conch can be heard. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay, so it was removed.
So it was in the original, you said?
It's supposed to be in the original. It's not in the remaster.
Interesting.
According to this, it could be wrong if Scotty didn't hear it. Could be that he didn't hear it.
Or he wasn't paying it, or maybe he wasn't turned up loud enough or paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's my fault.
Well, no, it's one of those things where you'd have to tell someone, go back, watch it, and pay attention when you watch that scene.
You're right. Yeah, so it doesn't mean it's not there, but without
it just means that I'm an idiot.
No, I didn't tell you to listen for it.
I didn't know there were coconuts. If I had known.
I know, it's like the old Three Stooges sound effect.
Oh, yeah, I love this part. There's another thing in the effects. The matte shot of Uhura appearing on screen in engineering is one of the smallest mattes ever used for the series.
Funny you mentioned that. I like that as well, yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a realism.
It did. It felt real to me, too. It's like, yes, that is the future of communications. And so Spock is protecting the ship, being captain over saving his father. I cannot relinquish command under these conditions.
You can give command to Scotty.
Command
under
requirements.
What grounds, Doctor?
Do not recognize personal privilege. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the guy who is not in the brig. What an incredible, I don't know the name of the actor, but I just love his performance. He's obviously an older actor who is like of European descent. And kind of like Celia Lovsky playing T'Pau. It's like, my people are a violent race. And it's almost Bela Lugosi levels. Like, it is such a great performance. He's only in that one scene. This guy's American. This guy is European. And it's such a great characterization of an alien species. Paint him blue and let him use his accent in an era where you wouldn't, most of the time people would be like, no, you've got to Americanize yourself. And this time, we're just going to paint you blue, put on a white wig, some antenna.
What's the name of that character?
Fev?
That's what I thought. Okay, I pulled it up. William O'Connell was the actor.
Oh.
Born in Richmond, Virginia.
What? Not this guy.
Yep, and he's known for Paint Your Wagon, Every Which Way But Loose, The Outlaw Josie Wales, among many other things, apparently.
Well, then he's okay. Oh. Then he's culturally appropriating Andorians. Okay.
Well, yeah, he's an Orion, so he just needed a little yellow paint.
But you're talking about the guy in the brig. I'm talking about this old man here who painted blue.
Oh.
Oh, well, I was looking at the one that said Felon. Unless I'm wrong with the name. But I didn't think, because this one here actually looks older than the actor was at the time, I'm guessing.
Just got to break in with a news flash. I'm sorry, this is not even anything to do with Star Trek.
Sure, news flash.
Yeah, my son's got a video out. He's got 60,000 views. I've got to learn what he's 60. It's like, congratulations, Captain. 60. All right, back to the show. Thank you.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Is he big like on
Infinity.
TikTok? Captain, does he like on TikTok and all that like the kids do?
Yeah, apparently that's the new way to do it. But I'm like, can you do Star Trek? He's like, I'm not doing Spock's brain, Dad. Anyway, sorry. Thank you. Back to the show.
Well, apparently he knows what the audience wants.
Well, yeah, the young audience, that's those videos that are like 30 seconds and all that stuff.
Darius Munchausen says, you're coconuts at Scotty R37.
I am. Oh, do you want to do this dialogue?
Sure. If I have it all, Spock, you must turn command over to somebody else.
When I was commissioned, I took an oath to carry out responsibilities.
Any competent officer can command this ship. Only you can give your father the blood transfusions that he needs to live.
Any competent officer can command this ship under normal circumstances. The circumstances are not normal. We're carrying over 100 valuable Federation passengers.
Wow.
We're being pursued by an alien ship. We're subject to possible attack. There has been a murder and attempted murder on board. I cannot dismiss my duties.
Duty? Your duty is to your father.
Damn you.
And Spock says,
I don't know. You have to flip the slide. I don't know what he says.
I did. I cannot dismiss my duties.
Spock
I cannot dismiss my duties. I did say that.
But, oh, yeah. Sorry. There you go. Excuse me.
But this must take precedence. If I could give the transfusion without loss of time or efficiency, I would. Sarek understands my reason.
When you get a chance, highlight Mark Harkness's comment. He's got a comment on the old Andorian we were talking about.
Yeah, but we're everything. No, but come on, we're everything without the chat.
Right, everything without the chat.
And
that explains his age too. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, you're human, Spock. It's not a dirty word. You're human too.
Well, I don't. It's not human. That's not a dirty word. You're human too. Let that part of you come through. Your father's dying.
She definitely gets a bigger role between her and Mark Leonard.
Mother, how can you have lived on Vulcan for so long, lived amongst Vulcans, married a Vulcan, raised a son on Vulcan, and not understand what it means to be a Vulcan?
Well, if this is what it means, I don't want to know.
Jill, let me ask you a question, because you're obviously a human.
Yeah, obviously.
Right.
I don't think it's obvious.
Do you think you would be happy if you were married to a Vulcan who doesn't show emotion like that? Do you think you would be happy?
No. Jill wants to be married to a Klingon.
Yeah, pretty much. I do. I like Klingons.
Okay.
But I do love
okay.
I do love Vulcans too. I think I'd like to date a Vulcan, but probably not marry him.
Because emotionally, you wouldn't have that connection because, you can see, because that's a big thing she has to deal with. Mm-hmm. So a lot of her life is like she has to keep everything internal, right?
I do respect Vulcans, and I think they're the greatest, but I don't think I'm Vulcan enough to be with a Vulcan.
Parmok, pawn far, or kill. It means to adopt a philosophy which is logical and beneficial. We cannot disregard that philosophy merely for personal gain. no matter how important that gain might be. Nothing.
Nothing
Oh wait, this
is
is.
as important as your father's life.
Can you imagine what my father would say if I were to agree? If I were to give up command of this vessel? Jeopardize hundreds of lives, risk interplanetary war, all for the life of one person? Which I would like to say, if I may interject, the
Probably what I'm
good
thinking.
of the many outweighs the good of the few. Or
Right.
the
Yes,
one.
the needs
But
of the
Spock
many.
is right. But Spock is right. Sarek would agree with that because that is logic.
Absolutely, yes.
But at what cost?
That is,
But at what cost, Kirk? Your ship, your crew. If I had not tried, the cost would have been my very soul.
And this discussion, they revisit this in the future movies. So this is another thing that's like a plot that it carries on to the future movies, is where she has, don't you have to remember your human side? She has reminded that in Star Trek 4.
Someone send this to that Kurtzman fella.
And I'm not reading this part because I read it earlier when I read about the actress.
He's a lost cause. I wouldn't bother.
If being Vulcan is more important to you...
That's my line.
Oh, sorry.
If being Vulcan is more important to you, speaking rules and regulations from Starfleet and Vulcan philosophy, and let your father die, and you let your father die, I'll hate you for the rest of my life. And I skipped some of the lines because I read them earlier.
Oh, she's a Danzig fan.
Mother, don't you let your children marry Vulcans.
Go to him now, please.
I cannot.
And she slaps him.
In the face.
A real slap, none of that fake stuff, where they're
no, it was good. Well, and also, come on, there is a moment where Spock walks up because he's going to chase Amanda, and he holds the door, and it's like, I thought these were automatic doors.
I know, huh?
But it's a good dramatic. It's a good
dramatic. Gotta have that dramatic moment, right? Gotta have that dramatic moment.
But then your door. You know what that slap in the face did? It busted the door.
It was a slap in the face. How quickly I was replaced.
On a timer.
Maybe she's on the other side holding it closed.
Yeah. Mother.
Are you thinking of me when you ponfar?
No, that's a good point.
Don't you let your Vulcans come my way. Don't you ponfar, you go away.
And I remember.
Am I Vulcan? Am I human? Am I just like you?
I remember growing up watching Star Trek. I remember growing up thinking, well, I hope they invent doors like that someday, because there used to be a day where when you went to a grocery store, everything was pull and push. There was no doors like this. Now almost every grocery store taken for granted now.
I was riding in a car with my father today, and I asked him, what was it like before trains?
Well, they had boats, I guess.
Yeah.
And he punched me in the face.
Right turn, Scotty.
That's a good one.
I'll turn command over to Scotty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who would do that? That's crazy. Scotty's drunk. He can't drive.
No, Scotty's great, but he doesn't end up doing it.
Right, refer to him, but that's it.
He was in Vancouver at the time.
And he almost calls Mr. Scott to the bridge.
He tries like 7 times. Scotty, get up here.
But they get distracted because of the invader ship, and what happens? It's coming from inside the Enterprise. There's a transmission in one of the Andorians who isn't an Andorian.
The call.
No time to waste.
Inside the house.
No time to waste. Tight script.
Yeah, well, and the tension is absolutely in sickbay in terms of the transfusion.
And the green blood.
Yep.
I like how one green blood is a different shade than the other green blood.
Well,
Filtering
one's
out the human
full.
blood.
Yeah. Spock's got half human blood. They had to put it through a machine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they had to separate it. And his
You got to keep them
heartbeat,
separated.
324. It's really fast.
It is pretty fast. But the pressure is so low.
I wish
It's
I
so
knew.
weird.
I wish I knew whether that was good or
Well,
bad.
burning along
He's
with everybody
honest.
else.
And this is why Dr. Mbenga is a Vulcan specialist.
Dr. Mengele.
Hey, why do you
I'm a
always... Never
doctor.
mind.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a doctor. Oh,
You should be on Patterns of Force. I'll see you. I'll meet you back here at Patterns of Force.
Oh, well, hey. My patients don't walk out in the middle of the operation. Oh yeah, Spock has something important to say. He says initiate. Wait,
because they're normally dead.
I must
Well,
see
no,
the captain.
I noticed something about the power distribution curve.
Yes, I just realized if their power utilization curve is not the norm, it should be possible to identify them this way. Very important.
Shut up, Spock.
But yeah, Chapel puts him to sleep.
Drugs.
Yes.
Yep.
See, and what was it? I heard someone the other day, I'm sure that they were illiterate when it came to Star Trek, but they were saying something. It's like, what are you talking about? You're going to drug these people? Star Trek doesn't use drugs. If you watch the original series, they use drugs all the time.
Yeah, McCoy has it, yeah.
Well,
You
for medicinal
know what? If you want to sleep, take one of those red pills that Dr. McCoy gave me. You'll sleep.
Yeah, do you mean recreational?
Right. People are starting to think
prescription.
that when they hear the word drugs, they automatically their mind goes towards illicit, illegal drugs. But though they're actually good drugs that doctors use every day.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right? Just because it says drugs doesn't mean it's like heroin.
Right.
And so
well, actually, I think you'll probably find that it's the other way.
All right, I'm going to leave while you're
the
soliloquying.
Drugs that are causing the most harm.
Well,
And
you're right about that.
The biggest holders of heroin is your doctor. But having said that, the future is extrapolated from the present, so that's why it's such a dangerous word, isn't it? Because it could mean absolutely anything. If you can't tell the difference between heroin and coffee, I'm not going partying with you.
I mean, you could write if you got pulled over by a cop, and if they say, "Is there anything in your car?" and you know about, I got drugs in there, sir. Well, you do? Yeah, I got some Tylenol. So drugs are drugs.
No, it's a meaningless word. It doesn't correlate to anything. I mean, even if you get pulled over by a cop in the US and he says, "Have you got any marijuana in your car? Is that a problem?" Well, it depends what state I'm in, doesn't it, officer? Am I over the border yet?
Well, they're going to ask you anyway because they want to know because they'll get you for a DUI.
None of your business, pig.
Well, here's the ship. The ship is coming up again. I guess I'll pause. If I find a good picture of the ship, I'll stay on that slide for Scotty.
I keep telling myself, but I've got to get that Blu-ray collection while it's still available because you know the day's going to come where it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And a Blu-ray
player.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes, as soon as I realized that CBS All Access was a thing, I made sure to have all of the physical media.
Yeah, have you guys heard about how they're pulling their physical media and they're getting it where they don't release stuff anymore because they want you to go to their live streaming? So yeah, now's the time, people. You want to start buying stuff up while you can. In fact, they got, what is it? The French Connection now is a collector's item on eBay. There's the ship.
Yeah, it was a little blurry. Let's see if
it's made to look that way. I don't remember it being clearer than that. Yeah.
I'll keep it right here.
There you go, Scotty. What do you think?
He stepped away.
Oh, okay.
He's But I'll check out the chat. The chat's been here.
Hello to the chat.
Yes. Mark Harkness says modern science is working on a better solution to the blood shortage issue. It's called polyheme, a blood substitute which does not have compatibility issues.
Are they actually using that?
I don't know, But this kind of research, this kind of science, this is the kind of thing that I love to hear about during my Star Trek streams, is real science being presented during a discussion on a sci-fi show, which is also portraying futuristic medicine.
I agree.
Thank you, Mark Harkness.
Thank you, Mark. And Mark's got a few other interesting things, too, that I agree with.
Mm-hmm. That is great. The AI show says DeForest said that line in his best cowboy tough guy voice. Oh, and we actually passed by the actual scene, so we could play it again.
I'll let there be a lesson to you. Just lie there and be happy you're still alive.
Yeah, Scotty made a great choice, and he asked me to clip that because I didn't have time to clip more than one clip today. And okay, so that's where I really was. Franco Walker is back. He also says, I wouldn't know how to fill a 30-second video.
You like Gorilla does. Just there's so many things going on outside your door.
Yeah, I mean, that's
go
true.
to Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I recommend his channel. Check it out. And he's got a lot of shorts.
He does a great job with shorts.
Where cooking is popular. He'll show what he ate, that kind of stuff. People, I mean, he gets thousands of views.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. He's great. Mark Harkness says, Reggie Nadler.
This is the older Andorian that I couldn't figure out. So thank you, Mark.
Oh, okay. So the older Andorian was named Reggie Nadler, born in Vienna, Austria, in 1907. Played Schross.
Yes, that's the one I couldn't get. Was trying to figure out because I said he looked older than the one I was looking at.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, he is pretty old.
So he was, 60 years old at this point, 59, 60.
Mm-hmm. Mark Harkness says his mother was a German actress of the 20s.
Silent era.
The accented Andorian was Reggie Nadler. Yeah, thank you.
Nalder.
I think it's Nalder.
Mark Harkness says, apparently, partially concealed under the white makeup are some burn scars of indeterminate origin, according to IMDb. Huh. Oh. Interesting. Well, we got to be careful with IMDb because they never put their sources, but you're probably right. I don't know for sure though because I don't know him.
One of the sources is Wikipedia.
Yeah, right.
Rumors, sources.
Well, at least sometimes in Memory Alpha you get an actual book that they're referencing as a source, and if you don't see a source, then you can ignore it or take it with a grain of salt. But if it mentions an actual book that you can reference that is something that is verifiable, then it's not as bad to look at. But IMDb doesn't do that at all. It doesn't include any sources ever. Herc130 says, I accept no apologies from PCC. He has absolutely nothing to be sorry about. Oh, I agree.
Don't toot in.
But I think he uses it kind of as a filler. More as, I don't know. Franco Walker says, I can remember cars before they had electric windows.
Oh, yes. Hand cranked.
Scotty R37 says, I can fill your videos $5. See? An Austrian. And Mark Harkness says, do not confuse Mbenga from TOS and Mbenga SNW.
Mbanga. So it is two different people.
Do now I've seen them together, I'm totally going to conflate them and use them as synonymous.
but he's saying that's two different characters completely. It's just the names are similar.
No, they're the same. He's making fun of the not Star Trek character.
Okay, gotcha.
Not to be confused with the popular drink Umbongo.
Okay, so Spock, mother. I could actually picture Leonard Nimoy singing that song now.
It's funny, I was picturing Glenn Danzig as a Vulcan.
Ooh, whoa, he needs a haircut.
Broody Vulcan.
Darius Munchausen says, not about see.
Your life. If you want to bring head with me, I will show you what it's like, mother.
Good song. Don't knock it, pink skin, says Scotty R37.
What's he doing down there? Get up here, Scotty, you weirdo.
I don't know. He's smoking or something. Yeah, he needs to see the ship.
What's he smoking? It doesn't matter.
All right, we got this. Yeah, Scotty Verniston got the slide pulled up with the ship. We want your opinion.
Yeah, Scotty R37 says Cybok needs a haircut and a real job. Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's living off Lucille Ball's money.
What? No, he's a televangelist. But Vulcan style.
I'm talking about the actor.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Skybok needs a haircut and a real job. So do half the people on YouTube.
Oh, my stars. I can't believe that you just said Lucille's balls.
Lucille Ball.
Oh, sorry. No, this is just a bunch of blinky, flashy lights in the original. It's
That's
like
what I
a
thought.
star. It's like a rotating star.
That's what I thought. So here that's what I thought. So here you see an actual ship or an object.
Yeah,
Well,
I see some kind of ship.
I guess this is the first canonical sort of vision or like representation of an Orion ship.
Yeah, they've done that before in this remaster series.
Kirk with that freaking green shirt again.
Why I love that shirt. I wanted one for Christmas.
Well, he has a good excuse this time. He was just in sick bay and he's supposed to be resting, but he never left the bridge.
Get out of here, Spock.
Yeah, but you think about it, Mark Leonard didn't have a lot of dialogue in this.
Well, not when he was unconscious, no.
No. But it's just that
rambling in his sleep. Come on.
But it's just that the performance is so memorable.
Agreed. He is incredible. I don't understand why he never did. He ever win any kind of Emmy for anything ever? Because he should have.
Oh. I mean, he was using a TV series called Seven Brothers in the 60s, but that's nothing that really got any attention. And I've seen him show up in a couple things. He was in Planet of the Apes, but that didn't win any Emmys. I think it was a TV series.
It was, yes. He played a gorilla.
Yep. But I don't remember.
Not you, gorilla. A different gorilla.
McGilly gorilla?
Yes. He played the Grimace.
And he died in 96, if anybody's wondering.
Yes, that's right.
I'm greatly appreciative to find out that Mark Leonard died. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
As the immortal poet William Shatner said, "Live life like you're gonna die, because you're gonna."
Well, that was during TNG's run. Did they ever dedicate an episode to him? Was that
Mark Leonard? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh yeah, wait. Oh, but no, because the character died in Unification Part 1, but Unification was dedicated to Gene Roddenberry because that was aired the same week that Gene Roddenberry died.
Oh, okay. Gene Roddenberry died, but TNG ended in 94, so Mark Leonard was still alive when that ended. So that didn't work out.
Right. So they didn't die hand in hand. They were not on the same plane.
Okay. I was off by a couple years. Sorry.
What else? It's all right.
So they're getting the old portable cardio stimulator.
Yes.
And so when you guys mention the filth, I always remember that they have like actual paddles, like electrical, like what we have. And so here
like defibrillators.
We have like they're stupid and they actually have defibrillators. And this one actually projects a futuristic technology, a portable cardio stimulator.
How do you feel about the neurocortical stimulators are the ones that they use in Next Generation. Yeah, and they are sort of like defibrillators, but they use them on your noggin.
Yeah, that's true. But that is still imagination at work. There's still some kind of manipulation of the technology to make it different.
Yes.
I have a note here about Mark Leonard, if I could cover it.
Sure, please do.
He mostly retired from television in 1993, as he had a leading role in a theatrical play which was performed on tour called The Boys in Autumn. He played an elderly Huckleberry Finn who gets reacquainted with his childhood friend Tom Sawyer, played by Walter Koenig. It was Leonard. Yeah, it was Leonard's last significant role.
Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. In this older Huckleberry Finn,
that should be the name of your autobiography
show. Like in when they do revisit the characters of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, do they play? Is there a representation of hard R N-word Jim?
I doubt it.
Well, no, but that's Mark Twain. Like, I should be able to say.
No, it is. Name. Yeah, I used to read the book too, but well, actually, I don't know. I need to look it up because it's the first I've heard of it. I don't know how much information.
Because if Brock Peters played Old Jim, that would be so good.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
Scotty, don't say that again.
But that's the character's name from the book. It's literary.
Yeah, I know, but
so I'm not allowed to say Sarek?
Oh, you're funny. You are.
No, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to be accurate.
I know.
You're not being funny.
Right. Any words that might trigger YouTube, I think, is what she's concerned about.
I was going to say one step before. I wish I had interrupted.
I can't.
You're not even allowed to make us think the word. I mean, it's amazing how language works, folks. I mean, they just do it in a way where he can make us think it and it doesn't matter. But yeah, under the rules, Scotty, you're not allowed. Come on now.
I'm looking forward to Patterns of Force. I'm really looking forward to Patterns of Force.
Well, I guess when Scotty prefaced this with, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it.
Well, I did. It was almost like a trigger warning.
You should come with a trigger warning. A little T-shirt you should wear and put on screen.
I usually do.
I'm liable to say or do anything. I'm the Sid Vicious of YouTube.
I'm sorry if I brought up a character from a Mark Twain novel.
You know, I'm glad that the books are not censored, but
yet.
They're just
you
burned.
You are not.
Clip that.
You are not Huckleberry Finn. You are not playing Huckleberry Finn. You are not on the raft with him, and it's not appropriate.
I disagree, but I will continue on. You can mute me or kick me, whatever.
No, I can't.
You sure you can?
I want to finish the episode.
Let's do it. Meanwhile,
they're finding out that
meanwhile, this ancestor of atrocities in the war of Ukraine is firing phasers at an Orion planet or ship.
Oh, Chekhov.
Chekhov's doing everything because there's no Spock. There's no
classic
Scotty, no Sulu,
he had to fire the phaser. It's literally Chekhov's gun. Thank you and good night.
No Eddie Paskey. Where is Mr. Leslie? Or am I allowed to say Leslie? Boom.
And so
no, it's
Orions
much.
Kill themselves.
How was this explosion? Was it any good?
Like when I saw it, pretty good. It was Star Wars style, and it actually looked pretty good.
And in the original, it was just an explosion in a paint can that was filmed from overhead.
Or a bright flashlight. It usually it's like just a bright light that just suddenly bursts and then disappears.
Wait, so I can say pink skin like it's my job, and no one's going to get offended?
No, but I've told you about that before.
All right. I know.
It's like my only rule.
I've lived on Andor, and I understand.
Nobody here writes the rules, Scotty. We just have to obey them.
Says you. Lieutenant relaying to Starfleet Command.
You've got to pick your rebellions, Scotty. You need to pick your rebellions.
Well, come on. It's not like I'm going to be invited back.
Welcome to Bridge Burning with Scotty R37.
It's not like that, and you know that. So we're not framing this episode as if that's the reason why you're not coming back.
Are we gonna have to delete it? We can edit it.
No, I can edit, but it's not about.
I apologize for triggering people who are fans of
You're
of
creating
Mark
a
Twain.
strange, well, or of me, really, because it's a strange fiction that you're currently weaving. You're
I am
going
weaving
away
a
for
strange
different.
fiction.
You're going away for different reasons. So I'm not kicking Scotty off of the show. His future non-appearances are not because of this moment.
Oh, but come on, you could have dovetailed. It would have been great.
I don't like it.
Scotty, you're literally being an unreliable narrator. This is like a writing masterclass.
Well, tell them we have a prisoner for at least the
Only
next 10 minutes.
temporarily. Yeah, only
I
temporarily.
may have
And there he is.
miscalculated.
And there he is, a gentleman from Austria.
No, that's not the Austrian. The older guy was the Austrian.
Oh, that's right. So, that's right. This is the spy. The older guy was the good one. That's right. Thank you.
Wasn't this guy the guy who played the Klingon judge in Star Trek 6?
Well, this is the one that I was mistaken for. This is the one when I was reading about his name earlier. That's the one I meant. Or that's when I was looking at it. I got the two characters crossed.
Without any consideration of reprieve or parole, you will be sentenced for the rest of your natural lives in the penal colony of Rurapente, known throughout the galaxy as the aliens' graveyard.
I'm sorry, I'm a little.
Did you get like a lot of calls? Did you get a lot of letters, hate mail?
No,
right.
I'm just lost.
So anyway, this guy dies because of suicide. Can I say suicide?
No.
Yeah. I literally don't have any other words banned on my channel.
Oh, you can, because I was going to say, if I'm going to reference in excess, it would have to be self-deletion blonde. Ow.
And Scotty, I looked it up. He was in no future iterations of Star Trek.
Oh, really? I thought there was a guy, though. Anyway.
Not this actor, but yeah, I'm looking it up now. But he played a bad guy most of the time, or a coward.
Much like myself.
I forgot that he was in Every Which Way But Loose. I like that movie.
I love orangutans.
What about a bonobo?
Any Which Way You Can. He was in the sequel. Okay, he was in the sequel. Any Which Way You Can. With the.
I'm more of a mandrill guy.
I knew it.
Mandrill. It's just fun to say. You don't like mandrill?
And why did they never intend to return home? Why did the Orions never intend to return home? What is that?
It was a suicide mission, they said.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And the reason to do the suicide mission was to make it so that there would be disharmony around Korriban, because Korriban is a natural resource of dilithium. Right. And so the Orions were going to profit off of distributing the dilithium between the conflicting powers.
Exactly, to make it seem like Sarek, framing Sarek for murder would have helped with that also.
I think the reason why it was a suicide mission was to leave no trace. Because we understand their motive for why they were trying to cause conflict, but when you ask why was it why did they self-destruct or why was it a suicide mission, I think it's because to leave no trace. I don't think they were planning on returning wherever they came from. I guess so we're assuming that was an Orion ship. It wasn't a conglomerate of different races or species.
Well, and also in terms of the emotion of Sarek being a Vulcan, like, I did find this being stern and yet tender between Sarek and Spock.
This is great here. It was a bit of levity that the episode needed.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But it was also a little bit of warmth that had been denied to Spock after, Spock saved his dad's life with the train.
Right. He wasn't about to say thank yous, but he pretty much he's joking with Spock here, which that really, really helped.
But he looks directly at him. He addresses him. And this is something he's been denying him the entire episode.
Yeah.
And he says, and the greatest compliment you can give a Vulcan is saying that their actions are logical. And this is what he says.
One does not thank. Oh, here, Jill, can you say it?
Logic, logic. I'm sick to death of logic.
Emotional, isn't she?
She has always been that way.
Well, that's not your line. Someone else has to pick that one up.
She's always been that
She
way.
has always been that way.
Indeed. Why did you marry her? Guys,
You told me I couldn't be Sarek.
you can't be Sarek.
Go for it, Captain.
At the time, it seemed the logical thing to do.
Oh, no gloves. Their totes
No
making out in front of their son.
Well, that's with
Ooh.
probing tongues.
Close your eyes.
Avert.
And Daniel's Hot Topics is here. He says this episode is great, by the way. And
True.
you know something? At this rate, I don't think Deadpool will come out. Oh, I thought it was going to be about Star Trek in November 2024.
No,
It
yeah, you're
probably
right,
came
Daniel.
out in 2025.
Yeah, don't hold your breath, Daniel.
I just
Yeah,
got
we'll
so
talk about
excited
it later.
to see Daniel's Hot Topics. I read it without reading it. The AI show says, "I'm sick to death of logic," said no Vulcan ever.
Said a lady from Earth.
Porn.
Prawn?
Yeah, this is Vulcan prawn. Yes.
Bones.
Family Doctor. It's this thing, Ship's Doctor. Don't you love it?
This is one of the greatest scenes between all three of them. Dr. McCoy, I believe you are. I think you're
Oh, I
enjoying
missed
this.
it.
It was an excellent ending.
And then Spock says, "Yeah, Captain." I don't think he doesn't say "yeah," but he's like, "Captain, I don't think I've ever seen him any happier."
Well, I didn't get the last line, but it is McCoy. Shut up to Kirk.
Shh.
No, shut up to Spock and shh to Kirk.
Shut up.
Oh. Well, what do you know? I finally got the last word.
This episode has been brought to you by Mark Twain.
Yeah, I love Mark Twain, but
Well,
Do
not
not-
all of his characters, though. You don't like to.
that isn't really his name. Okay.
That is in the book.
Samuel
No,
Clemens,
it isn't.
wasn't
It is in the books, but
Isn't it Samuel Clemens?
Yes.
yes.
Mark Twain
Clemens is his real
was
name.
a pen.
Anyway,
Pseudonym?
I don't even. I lost the thread why we were talking about Mark Twain to begin with.
Oh, I can tell you, but I can't.
Okay. Sean Carter says Shrek and Amanda.
Shrek.
I just read it. Sarek and Amanda apparently didn't tell Spock to stay away if the IDIC symbol is hanging around the doorknob.
Ogres are like onions. Vulcans, they're like onions. They have layers.
Layers. But cakes also have layers.
And they make you cry.
Yeah.
But if
that's
we
right.
cut the onions, why do we cry?
And the AI show says, I didn't know Shrek was the original series.
He was the chief engineer, yeah.
Darius Munchausen says, I need to go back and read Huckleberry Finn again. I didn't get it when we read it in high school.
I read it in middle
And-
school, I think.
And just to say, Mark Twain is one of my favorite authors.
Do you know how he got his name?
Because of directional?
Mark 1, Mark Twain. It's a naval nautical term. It's for marking rope.
Oh, that makes sense because when he was a kid, he
Interesting.
did some work on boats.
He's basically the equivalent, human equivalent of R2-D2.
Anyway,
Mark
so
1,
yeah.
Mark Twain.
I really love this episode. I give it an A+. Getting all of Spock's history is incredible.
Yeah. That's it?
I don't know.
Are you upset? Slightly.
No, she's freaking delirious, Scotford.
Makes sense.
Closed-ended question.
So you enjoyed it. Good. Captain, how did you feel about this episode?
I didn't.
Of all the
I
episodes I've
wasn't
ever
sure.
seen, it's actually not the most recent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the group dynamics between the three leads was fantastic, and that's really what we tune in for, isn't it? That and the science, and the short skirts.
Yeah, and there was still a little bit of science there. You got to have the sterilizing equipment and the transfusion tubes and all of the different kinds of
All that good stuff.
devices.
Yeah, I mean,
in the
sorry, my
medical
main
bay.
issue with this episode is my issue with almost all episodes of Star Trek TOS. It suffers from a lack of Joan Collins. And as Clobby points out, she didn't have to die. She could have beamed up to the Enterprise. She just had to exit that timeline. So, but I guess, yeah. But apart from that, great episode.
Yeah, the murder mystery, the medical episode, the medical emergency, Sarek's heart attack.
The Vulcan finger touching.
And I love
God.
any episode that puts Spock as captain for any amount of time. Even though, and he would have stood by his duty the entire time if he had to, and he would have lost his father. If it weren't for his friend Kirk, who stepped up and said, "I will suffer the pain of having just been stabbed almost to death to help my friend save his dad." And so that's really lovely. I can't.
Yeah.
There's very little to nitpick about this episode. I'm sure you could if you really tried, but it is almost perfect. I love it so much, and I think it's DC Fontana's favorite too. I'm not sure. Let me see if she said it was. She has repeatedly named this episode her favorite and all that she wrote. And to boldly go season 2 TOS DVD, she noted it went into the Vulcan relationship between families. I think that's a story that's universal and timeless, that communication between parents and children. And that to me was the big story. The rest of it was an adventure. It was a spy story. It was a mystery. It was an action story. But all in all, it was really about the parents and the child. There had still been a vast lack of communication between them, and they needed to find each other as parent and child. So, yes, I did enjoy it.
Very cool.
And it's one of those episodes that make me want to learn more about Vulcans, even though it gives me everything I need to start.
Does Vulcan have a moon?
No.
And so, what do you rate it?
Pop?
Me? I would say A+. It's one of my favorites. Especially because, well, I'm trying not to repeat what everybody else has already said before, but I think the casting that they did for Amanda and Sarek, I think, is spot on and excellent. And the fact that we were able to follow those characters for several... I mean, when they made that show, when they originally filmed that episode, they had no idea that Mark Leonard was going to be playing Sarek decades after that, or that Jane Wyman was going to be showing up in the 1980s. So I think the casting was fantastic. And there's actually chemistry on screen between Wyman and Leonard.
Wyatt.
Well, Wyatt, thank you. Who am I thinking of? Sorry, but yes, thank you. And the fact that I'm glad they were able to extrapolate some of the dialogue from this into further episodes of like the animated series. Like to talk about Spock with his pet and where he was bullied as a kid. And I'm glad for that. It spawned that animated series episode, which is also happened to be one of the best episodes of TAS.
Yes, it is my favorite. Chaya is great.
It is, yeah. So, action-packed. I'd say what's funny is when you think about it, there's not much action in this episode. I guess you could say it's mostly talking heads, but I was never bored watching it, even when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it was never boring. It was always a good episode.
Well,
but for me, I also grew up reading and watching like Agatha Christie and mysteries, and that's why I saw it like as a whodunit, which always intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
I love whodunits.
Yeah, and it's not predictable either in terms of who done it, unless of course you've seen it.
Right. But thank you. That's my review.
A+, 14 out of 10 is my review. I think that it is amazing. I think it is the cornerstone of not only Star Trek in terms of seeing diplomacy, travel, conflict. The only thing it's missing, well, three things. Sulu, Mr. Leslie, and Lieutenant Kyle. But we don't get to see any transporters, so I'll let Mr. Kyle
Scotty.
slide.
We didn't get Scotty.
But we get lip service for Scotty, and if there's something
Yeah.
as a Scotty, I do enjoy when I get lip service, and I enjoy it when, like, at least if he's not on screen. And they did this to O'Brien for a while. It's like, Mr. O'Brien, engage and they do this. Mr. Barkley is working on it in engineering. It, like, if you just acknowledge the larger world, even if you don't see them on screen, I think that this is so good.
It's funny. Right, it's funny for us. It's like, yeah, it's great. At least they mentioned them, but I doubt the actor agrees.
Well, that's true. They don't get the payment, do they?
Right.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Doohan, he's not saying much these days. So, like, I think that this is one of those episodes that when people are angry about new Star Trek, it's because new Star Trek has disregarded the rules of this episode. Like, there are things that are defined by Dorothy Fontana, which is one of, if not the only, her collaboration with Leonard Nimoy is what made Vulcans happen. And this is what the lore did.
Right,
like,
that's why. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you watch Jeffrey Combs in Enterprise, like, all he did was pay attention to the elder Austrian who was painted blue, who played an Andorian. And then he was like, okay, so they're a violent race and this is how they do. He didn't do an accent, but he certainly emulated what an Andorian was supposed to be like. Like, this is across the board. This is one of the best. This is top 3 for me. And Jane Wyatt shows up in the 80s. Mark Leonard obviously kept going through Star Trek as long as he could. Like, this is the characterization of McCoy, of Kirk. Incredible. The friendship. He's my best officer and he's my friend, which is a great way for Kirk to characterize Spock to his own mother. He's not my best friend and my officer. He's my best friend, best officer, and friend. We're not huggy-feely, kissy-huggy. This is a dude that I rely on, and he's also, he's really good at his job. But also, he's my friend. I like him. You are a human lady who fell in love with a Vulcan man. Well, guess what? I'm a human man. My best bud, not that I'm going to say that out loud, that would be disrespectful, because he's Vulcan, and he doesn't want me to express that kind of emotion. Friendship is a thing that Vulcans... Not in front of the Klingons, Captain. Like, I just enjoy that this has familiarity without emotion, respect, and reverence for everyone who is together on this ship going through a trek amongst the stars. This is so good. It has emotion without being sappy, and I love it. I love it.
Well, and it harkens back to Star Trek 4, where she says, did you do it because of logic? And he said, I know, I did it because they were my friends.
Well,
so
and
they were
this
able
is
to continue the conversation.
Well, and this is something that absolutely, Pop, I believe and subscribe, because this is something where Spock finally says in Star Trek 4 to Sarek, do you have a message for your mother? Yes. Tell her I feel fine. That line from Star Trek 4 is more important because of this episode and the history that you have with these characters, as opposed to people telling you that you're supposed to have emotion and history with these characters, because you actually have it.
Right.
So this is amazing.
Agreed. Yeah, that is perfect. I like it. Thank you, Scotty. We saved the best for last, it seems.
No, yours was best. I was just last.
Well, I really enjoyed yours too, Pop Culture. I didn't mean. I'm just.
Oh no, I didn't.
I'm
No,
actually a little
I didn't think
emotional
anything
today.
of it. Thank you. It's a really good episode and definitely up there. So I agree with everything Scotty said.
Me too. But
Well,
I do
and
want
that's
to
part of
read
the
the
reason
chat
why we're here
before I
is
have
because
to.
we all love Star Trek, and that's why we're here.
And you can't go wrong with the TOS cast of characters. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
TV show or movies.
Yep.
Yeah. But I do want to read the chat before I have to get going to pick up my daughter.
You have a
Darius
daughter?
1000. I do.
Oh.
Mark Twain was friends with Guinan, so that's a reference
Oh,
to the
don't
TNG
remind us.
episode. Time Zero was actually a really good episode, and it's actually a closed loop time travel episode.
Thank fudge.
Oh, it's really good.
It
though.
doesn't happen often, so it should be celebrated.
It was really nice. I liked it.
Twain worked on. Oh wait, I forgot you.
Although
hate
that's
Guinan.
funny, closed loop one episode.
Right, that's it,
timelines
Jill.
another.
That's
Hey, Star Trek writers, here's a rule for you to remember. You cannot change the laws of physics. Ha ha! Hashtag irony.
Twain worked as a on riverboats as a young man before becoming yeah, he worked as riverboats. No, on riverboats as a young man before becoming a journalist and author. Yes, he did. And that is a
So I don't exist. I exist. So I don't exist.
common thread for really great authors is they live a little first.
Yeah, you got to go out, get in a few fights, get laid.
See, and that's what's missing from the current crop of Hollywood writers. Is that's just it. They don't have lives. They've never lived it or done anything in their lives, so they don't know what to write. All they do is write about their emotions.
Yeah, true. And they,
Which
I don't
isn't
know- I
very
don't know if
handy
they
if you're
even
writing
read.
Vulcans, is it? That's the only thing you're not meant to write about.
What was it? I heard someone talking about a comic book writer, and that the comic book writer that was being critiqued, and that comic book writer was asked, "What made you get into comic books?" And they said, "I saw Batman Forever, and I had a crush on Chris O'Donnell as Robin." And it's like, so you saw a thing that everyone did, and that's what got you into deciding that you wanted to be profitable with your life. You didn't have a story to tell. You had nothing to express. You were just
Everybody
like,
makes
oh,
got a
Chris
story
O'Donnell's
to
cute.
tell that you have yet to hear. Apart from that, the writer of Batman and Robin, it seems.
When people talk about modern science fiction, and it's like, what were your influences? And if you say Full House, then get off my lawn. If you say a television show, if you say Powerpuff Girls, or even if you say the Venture Brothers or something like that, like, no, you're wrong. Your answer should be Mark Twain, Odysseus. Your answer should be something that is off the beaten path that you can introduce to a new audience, not something that everyone else has seen.
While I agree completely that it is important to use literature as a inspirational tool, it's what's wrong with Powerpuff Girls? It was inspired by kaiju, Japanese kaiju, and Batman and Robin from the 60s. So it if you take something that is more modern, that is your inspiration, then you can always
As long
tie
as
it
you
back
have
to the
inspiration.
history. And so whatever inspired Batman before that is something to look at.
Yeah,
too.
but part of the reason
And
why I
comic books
enjoy
and
these
everything.
part of the reason why I enjoy these conversations with you and Pop Culture Curator and Cap Infinity is that we have a breadth of influences. We have a breadth of knowledge. And when you introduce me to something that's new, I am sort of flabbergasted and impressed. And I'm like, you know what? I got to look into that. But if it's something that we've all heard of, it's like, really? I don't care. Like, yeah, I saw that. It's kind of like a signpost, and it's like, yeah, no, I understand what a yield sign is.
Okay, I do. I hope you do, because I really hate people who just stop at a yield sign unless there's a good reason for it. Ariba Bell says from Wiki, it's referred to his steamboating days when he measured the depth of the water when the measure of the depth of the water was expressed with the crewman's cry, Mark Twain, meaning 2 fathoms or 12 feet.
See, back in my day, we used to memorize information in things that we called brains.
Sometimes they wrote them down.
That's true. Some people used to remember entire books in their heads.
Oh, we should go to the poll because Franco Walker says I gave this episode an A+. I wonder what the scores are.
Yeah, that's a good point. Franco Walker gave this episode an A+. And so, yes, I'll do that for you.
Yeah. So, Captain, Carol made it to Australia?
I'm not her publicist. I refuse. Yes, she has. She's fine. She's there. It's all good. Yeah,
I saw the
fine,
pictures I'm so happy for her. I saw the pictures on Twitter, so he's like, good for her. Finally.
Did she travel by steamer ship?
Probably not.
Apparently, the flying time alone without stopovers was 24 hours. So,
wow.
Effectively.
All the way around the world.
Took me 23.
Go any further, you're going backwards. She went so far, she's in winter.
She does love sweaters.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
And also, Australian winter is very
kangaroo. A woolly jumper.
Man, I hope she gets an opportunity to eat a kangaroo. They're delicious.
Aren't they, though?
They make...
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they make cheeseburgers out of them, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's one of the rules.
Mate.
Sorry, we were trying to talk at once. I was just going to ask, do they have a gamey taste? Or wild?
No.
They don't like some meat do? No?
No, not at all. It's actually quite a succulent, it's almost a tangy sweet.
I wanted to say hello to Canadian Spider-Man. Hello, Jill.
Hello, Spidey.
Scotty Hard 37.
That's me.
Says Darius Munchausen.
Darius.
The AI show says B. An interesting look at the backstory of the Spock character with his parents. The Intergalactic Conference works as a nice plot premise to show aliens and bring the characters together. Thank you, the AI show.
Yeah.
Thank you, the AI show. I accept your A+.
Cool.
Disclaimer, says Darius. Scotty was referring to Gene L. Kuhn.
Darius, you're not helping. You're not helping.
Your setup is my punchline.
I know, but that was really, really good, and I appreciate it, Darius. Thank you.
And Jim's Landscape gives the episode an A+. And she got to see Fiji for a moment. Oh, wow. Okay, so Darius knows a lot about
sweet.
Carol's travels.
I hope she'll get a lot of pictures. Post them.
And
she was going to meet a romantic partner, and the last time I was with a romantic partner, I saw Fiji.
May I read this one from the AI show?
Yes, you may.
I hate to break it to the guy on the panel, but there is no correct answer. There is no correct answer to why people get into professions. There are individuals who get into science and tech because of Star Trek, for example. Agreed. That's why I was saying, as long as they've got passion and motivation, even if it's money and gambling debt. Gambling debts is the reason why Hokusai came out of retirement and gave us the wave. So that quite frankly, I agree. It's the people that, as long as they've got motivation, it's the people sitting there going, oh, I don't know what to write. Well, I don't care, George R. R. Martin. It's been 11 years. It's your fucking job. Get on with it.
When I watched Star Trek, I was just like, my name's Scott, and I see an alcoholic's named Scotty on screen, so maybe I can do what he does.
As long as you can do your job, I don't care why. I mean, I hope you're passionate about it, but it should show through your ability to do the job. Have you ever worked well at a job you hated for a thing called professionalism? Anyone? No. Okay. I mean, I never, wanted to be a busboy all my life, but at the time, that was the perfect job. In fact, it gave me a lot of life skills I'm still used today. But anyway, including decaf. Professionalism, Scotty. Sometimes you don't want to be like, do you think Kirk wanted to be stabbed? No. He's the captain, isn't it? You do your job. Oh, I wanted to be stabbed. I'm passionate about being stabbed. No, I'm Captain Kirk. I'm a professional. I'm representing Starfleet. Right, Scotty? He's at the desk every morning. He might be out all night on the tiles on the Romulan Ale with Joan Collins. It doesn't matter. 6 a.m., he's on deck doing fucking whatever it is, tangential abacus calculus.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you bring up, because I have always had this adage that it doesn't matter what job you have. everyone wants to call in sick. And we do get a representation of that in this episode, where Captain Kirk has had an upward thrust between his ribs, nearly piercing his heart. And he has to go to work. And he's like, Scotty, can you take over? Oh, my stars. You have to get up here. And then Chekhov is like, the enemy is closing, sir. And he's like, I was going to call in sick, but I can't. I have business. So, like, this is a perfect example of professionalism. Exactly what you were saying.
Boom.
Science. I don't wear blue underpants. Certainly not tidy whities. Give me some boxers. Franco Walker says, I'm back online. My cat knocked out the Wi-Fi box off the table. Well,
just get up on that 50.
Does any? Oh, and so yeah, no, thank you so much. With 23 votes in the thing,
Nice.
83% say
Oh,
A+,
okay. I was talking and I thought you were talking over me.
You
okay? So
I have
yes,
no
I was
idea.
trying-
How
Not the
you
old
mute
mute
yourself.
button again, Jill.
I do. So yes, the poll was pretty great. We had 83% at an A range and 17% at the B range. So I'm going to end the poll there because it's time for me to go.
Yeah. Does anyone want to promote their stuff?
Yeah, good idea.
I'm going to do a quick
I
show
wouldn't
just
have
after
never
this
thought of
one.
that myself.
I actually do have to get on with some linear algebra. I'm going to do like a 15-minute show. So
Oh my gosh, linear algebra, matrix math. Wow.
yeah, it's
You've got
I must
some
have missed that
advanced
day
stuff.
at school. I've got to learn it
No,
before
they
I
didn't
teach
have
it.
that at school. They had that at college for me. I've never seen that in high school.
Wow. Oh, no wonder my head hurts. No, it's fine. Once you get your head around, it's like anything, isn't it? Once you get your head around it, it's brilliant. That's the beauty of maths, folks. It's just there, isn't it? It's not like English language. Oh, what does that mean? It's just it's God's own language. Anyway, welcome to mathematics next week. Yeah, 15 minutes of linear. Do you like linear algebra?
I
Join me
do.
for 15 minutes of prep on my show. Scotty, Pops, and Jill. I know you can't make
Well,
it. You're all invited
there's
if you want to come along.
There's a professor at MIT, Gilbert String. He wrote a really good book on linear algebra, and I don't know if the MIT website still has his lectures up for viewing, but I learned linear algebra through that guy because my professor sucked.
See, no bad student, only bad teacher.
Yeah, I've seen that before. You're right about that. It's all in the teacher you get.
Definitely.
Amen. Exactly. I'm going to be the teacher, so I've got 15 minutes to learn this shit. So join me. So that's my plug. See you in 3. Okay.
Well,
back
it's
to you.
step
Jill,
by
in the
step.
studio.
So enjoy that. And Pop Culture
Thank you.
Curator, please tell us what you're up to.
Thank you. Tonight on my channel, 6 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be covering Forbidden Planet, the sci-fi classic. And tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, if you join me on my channel at 7 p.m. Pacific time, with Gorilla's Random Thoughts and myself, we're going to do 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island. We're currently on the 2nd season. And sometime over this weekend, I'm going to have a Rumblings from the Labs stream, which is usually open topic, open mic, but I might talk about a little bit about UFOs this week. And then on Mondays, we'll be back on my channel again at 6 p.m. Pacific with classic Lost in Space series. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. Awesome. And I need you to give us some final words or whatever you'd like to share.
Who?
You.
Oh, me. I wasn't looking at the screen. I didn't realize that I was an action figure again. Hi. I quit.
Oh, Mr. R37, you do look so handsome in uniform.
Yes.
Like I'm not gonna broadcast for a bit. I don't know for how long, but I'm done. I'm done with the internet for a while. Like I'm still gonna talk to people and I may show up in chats, but I'm not gonna broadcast for a bit. Like I'm sick and tired of this. I love you guys so much, but I don't want to have outbursts. I don't want to do tirades. I don't want to be blocked and banned. I don't want to drama. I just want to talk with my friends, and I don't necessarily feel the need to do that in public anymore. And so I'm done. It's over. So thank you. I'll see you. I'll see you all individually in some capacity or another. But this is it. It's over. Thank you.
You're
Hailing
welcome,
frequencies
and thank you.
closed.
Thank you, Scotty.
I'm going to just spontaneously add weight to Scotty's. I'm going to do the same thing because it's only going to get more weight because I completely agree with the underlying reasons. So if my doing the same thing doubles the weight of Scotty's statement, you got 15 minutes with me and then you're all done. Quite right. I don't need to do this shit in public. I want to have happy conversations in private, not get slagged off in public all the time. So I'm also quitting. Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, good. Goodbye,
Right.
Captain Finity. Have a great show. I do know that
Are
he's
you-
not quitting.
Like, did he take my thunder? I think he stole my thunder.
Well, it was well done, though, I think.
It was good. It was really good. Yes.
No, but I didn't know how to broach that subject, and you did a fantastic job of explaining your reasoning and what's going on with you. So thank you for doing that. And
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate everybody that I've met along the way. And I'm going to see you all. I'm going to see everybody.
You've been on this Star Trek review show for almost a year. It would have been a whole year in August, because August is when I started with the cage. And so thank you.
And it's been a pleasure and an honor.
episodes.
You know what? And I'm just so happy. Like, out of all the shows that I've reviewed on the internet, the only one I've actually done front to back, you know which one it is? The animated series. So thank you, Pop Culture.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you were a part of it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, that is true. It was a really wonderful time. I love talking about the animated series, and of course, yesteryear comes from the show we talked about today. And I'm really going to miss broadcasting with you.
Well, I would like to say just one more thing.
Absolutely smashing.
And Darius Munchausen says, I love Scotty.
I'm a fan of him and myself. Are we talking about Jimmy Doohan? Are we talking about Monty Scott?
No, we're talking about you, Dummy.
Why? Why?
Michael Walker says, you will be missed, Scotty R37.
Eh, you'll get over it. Thanks, Franco.
And I mean, I normally do know how to end these, but I play the preview for next
Jill.
week's episode. Yes,
Captain, I'm.
Uhura, you're the only one who can do it. I'll be right there.
Yes, sir.
it's
love you
true.
too.
I am the only one who can do it. It is my show, and I will continue. So yes, I will be continuing on all the way through the 3rd season. I will finish this series. And I'll be lucky for anyone who does want to join me on that ride. So, and we should have Canadian Spider-Man next week for a private little war. And I will end this live stream by playing the trailer for next week's episode. Cinema Gulp said, Scotty just told me right now that he's not doing our show this weekend.
Not true. No, that's different.
Well, yeah, he does.
Ben,
like,
we record. Ben, we record. That's different than live broadcasting.
Oh, so then you are doing Ben's show.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, that gave me ideas, but I'm gonna talk to you about that later.
Yeah, it's not like I'm dying. Like, I'll be back. I can still, Jill, we'll still talk to each other.
I know.
I just got unblocked from being in the chat at Pop Culture Curators channel. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just saying I don't want to live stream no more.
I know, but you've been spoiling all of us for over a year, and I just want to thank you for it.
It has been my pleasure, but I think that I believe the logical response is you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Brendan Circuses. I do love that quote because it validates my responses. Darius Munchausen says, I only tease Scotty because I like him, and he's Teflon.
Thanks, man. I
And
like you too, Darius.
And so Cinema Gulp says, okay, cool.
Speaking of Cinema Gulp, you should all go check out our Armageddon review. And also, there was recently an Oppenheimer conversation with not one, but two Bens.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely. Go check those. Yes, you're right. This is correct. So definitely check out Cinema Gulp. And Anonymous says, bye-bye, Scotty.
Bye-bye, Anonymous.
Bye-bye. And, but yes, this review does continue. And Ariba Bell says, really? No one's going to do the Wrath of Khan line?
What? On SETI Alpha 5?
Oh, no.
There she is. Which one?
No. Well, I'm guessing maybe you have been and always shall be my friend.
Ship? Out of danger?
But you're right. We're not dying. Nobody's dying.
Come back next time. Star Trek 3, The Search for Scotty.
Yeah, right. We need Genesis.
Genesis? Can we get out of here?
I'm trying.
I just quit. Can I leave?
Yeah. Okay. So, and thank you to Pop Culture. Also, please check out his Forbidden Planet. It's gonna be rocking good time.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Thank you for having me, Jill.
Forbidden Planet. It's just like having 2 Star Treks in one day because that is one of the big inspirations for Star Trek. So I can't wait.
Except we get it right. Except we get a robot also, so it's really cool.
Yeah, bonus. And so I'll talk to you guys next week with the Private Little War with Canadian Spider-Man and Pop Culture Curator and whoever else. And I will see you all Friday. I will talk about UFO. Bye.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Yeah.
Captain's log, stardate 4211.4. I have elected to violate orders and make contact with planet inhabitants here.
You will not help your friend and brother kill them instead?
No!
Hit you? No, I can't.
Last you strike me. Harder! Jim, that means you're condemning this whole planet to a war that may never end. It could go on for year after year, massacre after massacre. All right, Doctor!
Your pain and mine. Only mine. Return. He is mine now.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.